welcome to the True Patriot Show Podcast. On today's show, we talk Trump Space Force, Molly Tibbetts murder, Arkansas statue controversy, Todd Colip, the Florida shooting, and the New York Times article on how far America is falling under Trump. And now your hosts, Chad Freeman, Mr. Tut, and Sherry Freeman.
And welcome to the True Patriot Show Podcast. I am your host, Chad Freeman, alongside Mr. Tut. Say what's up, Mr. Tut.
Hello, everybody.
And also Sherry Freeman.
What's up, everybody? Glad you're here.
Yeah, so on the True Patriot Show Podcast, just to kind of give you a little backstory of kind of why we created this and kind of what our whole point to this was, we definitely wanted to go live from the very beginning because we feel like, you know, this whole thing is going to be a conversation. It's going to be just kind of us chatting. My whole reason really to start the whole podcast thing was just basically because, you know, I've been I believe very strongly in my conservative values, me personally. And, of course, when Alex Jones was getting banned and all this craziness that has happened, which basically he got stripped of everything he was, completely. It's insane. And one of the ways that you can kind of get the message out there or talk about real things without being censored, even though this will go to, of course, YouTube, Facebook, and all those things, for the time being anyway. But one of the ways that we can kind of combat that censorship is through podcasts. And I believe very heavily that's the reason many are going to podcast is just the simple fact of the fact, you know, it's harder to, I guess, censor. So to give you a background on us, Mr. Tut and we actually met doing music. Well, Sherry, you did too, obviously. You met him during the same time. But Mr. Tut was an artist back in the day. What was it? R&B artist, right? I mean,
R&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he lived. I don't know if you lived in Atlanta then. Did you?
Well, I lived in Atlanta for 7 years, and I went down there to really pursue my music, but things didn't work out. And so I moved back home pursuing, you know, when I got back home. And I got on the internet, on Google, a few people who was doing music in the upstate, and I ran across, you know, your ad, and you know, the rest is history.
It was a good ad, right?
Oh, it was excellent. Excellent. It drew me, so you know.
I know.
And the rest is history, and we've all been like best friends ever since.
Yeah, that's
we've
right.
All just kind of met and enjoyed each other's friendship, and
that's right.
Started talking about issues and politics and things that arise every day, and we just figured, you know, why not share this with the world? Because
that's right.
You know, it's amazing what we end up talking about, and then it's like, you know, let's share this.
Let's share it.
This is awesome.
That's right.
Yeah, so,
that's right.
You know, not to sound like racist, because I don't know, there's so many people out there that's like, oh my God, you said black, you're racist. But no, Mr. Tut is black. And not only is he black, but he's you know, he's been through, you know, I mean, he didn't grow up in a white world, I guess you can say. I mean, there are black people that, like, if you talk to him, you're like, man, they're more white than I am. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Nick is not, or I mean, Mr. Tut is not one of those people. You know, Mr. Tut grew up in Greenville, right?
Well, actually, a little small town about 20 minutes outside of Greenville.
20. And then, you know, I know you spent some time in Atlanta as well.
And New York City.
And New York City, yeah.
But I ended up coming back home through both of those tours, so I guess it's not meant for me to live anywhere else but home.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, you know, one of the things that I had to get Mr. Tut on the podcast for was the simple fact that, like I said, he's not grew up, you know, as somebody with like I said, everything handed to him or whatever. I mean, a lot of times you talk to black guys or girls or whatever it is. A lot of those people that kind of act white are usually I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of those people come from money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really think about it, a lot of those people come from money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true.
And Chad, on the opposite side, I mean, like, where you came from, you really didn't come from money, and you grew up in the black community pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you both have a lot in common where that comes from is that, you both kind of grew up in the same social and economic status, I guess.
Yes. And when the neighborhood I grew up in was majority white. I didn't grow up around a whole lot. No, my school that I went to was probably 99% white,
Huh.
Yeah.
So that's why you like me, huh? I think that's why. I just figured it out. I never knew that until now.
Yeah,
So what if you
right.
would have went to an all-black school growing up? Maybe you wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
That's
Probably would still be in Atlanta.
Yeah. Why did you leave Atlanta? I mean, was it...
Why did I leave Atlanta? It was time. The music thing wasn't working, and I didn't really have transportation down there. And they have public transportation, but where I lived, it was like transportation. They shut down early. It wasn't like the other parts of Atlanta. It's 8:00. Everything was shut down.
Wow.
And it got me to and from work. But if I wanted to go anywhere else, I was just stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Kind
of like New York, really, but...
Well, New York is 24 hours.
Yeah.
It never sleeps. It's...
That's interesting. I mean, I actually like Atlanta pretty good.
I liked Atlanta. Atlanta's a great city. I mean, so is New York, but
Chad,
Yeah.
have you ever been in rush hour in Atlanta?
Yeah, I have. But the thing is, it's not about the rush hour thing. It's more about, I mean, honestly, you can go, even in rush hour, man, you can go on 85 in Atlanta during rush hour, and then you go in the city, and there's like nobody there.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Which is weird. It's
right.
It's one of the biggest cities to have nobody in it sometimes.
Yeah. It's opposite from New York. Rush hour in Atlanta is like all day in New York.
No, I get that. I get it completely.
Yeah.
So, we're definitely on this show. Some of the things we're going to talk about, or I guess half of the things we're going to talk about, will have something to do with conservative politics to some degree. Myself and Mr. Tut and really Sherry even. And Sherry's my wife, for those of you that do not know that. You probably figured it out. But no, I mean, I guess Sherry and I are pretty diehard conservatives, I would say, for the most part. I mean, there are certain things that Sherry and I don't agree on, and there are definitely certain things that me and Mr. Tut don't agree on. But one of the reasons I wanted him on this show is because, predominantly we do agree on a lot of issues. We do agree on a lot of the things that we think. And I don't think it's because we're conservative or we're liberal either. I mean, I think it's that we just, we talk about the reality of situations. And it seems like in 2018, if you listen to any media whatsoever, the reality factor is just absolutely, completely gone. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. You listen to CNN, MSNBC, whatever the case is, then you get pushed whatever the agenda behind that is. So that's kind of the biggest issue. But one of the first topics we wanted to jump in on is the Trump Space Force topic. A lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on it. We've definitely done our research on the Trump Space Force program. Nick, what was your first thoughts, without even knowing anything about the Trump Space Force program? What was your first thoughts on it when you hear it? I mean, what is
my first thoughts of it was why in the world are they trying to build a military in outer space? Are they defending us from aliens? Do they know something, or is it against other countries? And second of all is, how much is this going to cost? And from what I've seen, they haven't figured that out yet. And if they haven't figured it out yet and they've announced it, it's going to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. they're just not wanting to tell us that.
Well, okay, so that's a good, that's a good analysis. So here's my thing on the Trump Space Force program. Obviously, it's going to be another branch of the military, and from everything we've kind of talked about, is the Trump Space Force program is from what the official release is that they are wanting the program to. It's almost kind of like a space race in a way. Even though Russia and China are already there, they've already beat us. The whole reason Trump wants a space program is because China and Russia both have the ability to completely destroy our satellites in space with their program, their space program, whatever the Chinese space program is called. But they have the ability to not only destroy our satellites, which we use for a million different things, whether it be war, which is, what a lot of people don't realize is the weapons, the laser-guided bombs, or the satellite-guided bombs, and missiles, Scud missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, all those things are controlled by the satellites that we have in space. So the issue is that Russia and China have the ability to destroy those satellites fairly easily with their own apparatus that's in space now. So if you think about if we ever get in a war with China or Russia, which, Russia definitely being one that you would probably worry about before China. But if we ever get in a war, what would be the first thing they would want to do? They would destroy our satellites. So we have no chance of launching intercontinental ballistic missiles, which could be also a nuclear bomb or a nuclear warhead.
Dude.
We
would have no communication also, right?
Well, it depends. If they destroy that, then no. I don't know which satellite that particular part is on, the communications part, but you got to realize, there is no nuclear war if they destroyed our satellites that could control, because what you have to realize is, able to get a nuclear warhead to Russia or China, you have to send that warhead in space. You have to.
Right.
And the only way that thing is guided typically is by satellite. So if say we were in a war with Russia, or say they launched a nuclear warhead to the United States, then we would have an issue, because if they destroy our satellite guide system, then we're screwed.
Right.
They could have a direct hit on the United States, and then I'm not saying that's the only way that we can get a nuclear warhead to them. Obviously, we got nuclear subs, we got all that, but it wouldn't be as effective. There's just no way. That's the scary part, and so that's what President Trump is saying. This is why we want to have a space force, is because we want to be right there with Russia and China. If they destroy our satellites, then what are we going to do then? But do you think there's any other reason?
Any other reason? That...
Yeah, do you think that? When you first hear it, it's like, well, is that to protect us from aliens?
Right. If it is. If it is to protect us against aliens, I do not think that we would have much of a chance, because they are, thousands, maybe 1 million years more advanced than we are. And, we wouldn't stand a chance against any other life form out there, any aliens. That's my opinion.
Okay, and I guess my question is, I'm not really up to date on the Space Force, so I have two questions. Is there a controversy over people believing in aliens? Obviously, there is. And the second question is, how are the liberals and the conservatives? Are they on the same page? Are they on different pages? And, what's the debate on this subject?
Well, obviously the liberals are going to absolutely come in and tear it a new one. That's obvious. It's like, it's funny. If you look at our Twitter account on True Patriot Show, or at the True Patriot Show on Twitter, I posted a meme that is really funny, because it is 100% true, and it reminds me of what you just said as far as what do liberals think, like as if we give a shit. But the point is that this meme had a picture of Donald Trump, and it said, I just wish for once Donald Trump would tweet something that was anti-gun, so we could see the liberals try to, bash him for that, because they would.
Right.
Even if Trump came out and tweeted something and said, we need to get rid of all guns, liberals would be like, oh shit, like, well, we got to tear him a new ass somehow. So let's like figure out how we do that. And I honestly think that's the problem. So to your question, what do liberals and conservatives think? I don't think it's necessarily a political thing, because I think there's a lot of conservatives out there that is going to question spending billions of dollars on a space program. But I think the reason a lot of people question that, including conservatives, is because they don't truly understand what we want to do with that. And the reality is, if we get in a war with Russia or China, we damn sure better have what they have. And that's the thing. And so, is it worth spending billions of dollars on? Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, I would have to say it is.
I agree. I mean, if they're defending the country against other countries, I would say so. I would agree to it. But to answer Sherry's first question about, do people really believe in aliens? I think they believe in aliens more, today than they did 40 years ago. Mainly because of all the conspiracies that are on the internet, and people see strange things at night in the air. I remember Chad
and
told
even
me.
pilots, like they will be flying, and
Yeah.
they're like, "I swear to God that I saw, this was not a plane. This was not
Right.
anything I've ever seen."
Right. You've heard pilots say that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought about that a couple, months ago, years ago, about all this talk about aliens. What about the airline pilots? What do they see?
Exactly. And what about, like, where is that place? The
Area 51.
Yeah, Area
Oh,
51.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a whole thing in itself, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's not just airline pilots, keep in mind, that have seen these alien life forms or whatever you want to call it. But it's not just there are military pilots that have been flying F-18s and F-16s in formation, 40,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, they go higher. Yeah.
And some of the stuff that they have said they've seen is just insane. I mean, if you look at some of these, encounters
Right.
that some of these F-18 pilots have had in the dead of night, 40,000 feet in the air, and they said that whatever they saw something coming off their right wing, and it was a light, and it was there, and they said the weird thing is that it came out of kind of nowhere. So they went, they kind of flew towards the spacecraft or whatever, the unidentified flying object, we'll put it that way. They flew that direction. And when they flew that direction, they said it started speeding up going forward. So they followed it. And then they said all of a sudden, they said it was going so fast, they were in full afterburner trying to catch it, and it was gone.
Wow.
So
And-
it must have been like the speed of light.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, speed of light, speed of something. I'm not sure, but I mean, if you got a squadron of F-18s in full afterburner going after something, and it's not even close to catching it, that's what's weird. And they didn't have any account on radar about it.
Is that right?
Yeah, they had nothing on radar. But I mean, you got to think, we have technology that prevents from radar. You know what I'm saying? But the weird thing is, it's like, if there is aliens, if there is UFOs, which I'm a believer in UFOs. There's no way you can tell me that in the entire universe, if you really think about how big the universe is, that we're the only life form out there. And better yet, I don't know, because even because we all, I believe in the Bible. I think we grew up in church. What church did you grow up in, by the way? Were you Baptist or what? Baptist. Okay. Yeah. And I grew up in a Baptist church. Sherry was a little different. She grew up, a lot of your family's Jewish. And so I think once she kind of met me was when I converted.
Yeah,
I converted her, but...
Well, it's not been converted. We have discussions based on religion constantly.
Yeah, we do. Well, we do. No, there's no question about that. We definitely have discussions based on religion. But not to get too off topic, in the Bible, in the Holy Bible, King James Version, or any Bible that starts off with God creating the heavens and the earth, and many times in the Bible it talks about the heavens meaning space, outer space, whatever. There's just no way you can tell me that we're the only life form.
I'm glad you brought that up about the Bible. In the Bible, it also says that there's a firmament. And from what I understand, a firmament is that it is a some type of shield that is over the earth. And if you try to go up outer space, you can only go up so far before the shield destroys whatever tries to go up. You know, that's just what many conspiracies are saying right now. That's why I'm not
Interesting.
That's why I'm not saying that they didn't go to the moon or you know, made it to Mars or whatever, but the big question is the firmament. What is the firmament? Is it a shield or some type of force field over the earth that, you know, prevents us from going up so far? And plus there is a radiation belt called the Van Allen belt that is very hot, and it will melt anything that goes through it, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, those are just some things to think about, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, the question is, with the moon thing, I gotta touch on this because there's a lot of people that don't believe in the moon landing. And, you know,
Right.
I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just simply saying that it's kind of crazy. The moon landing was so long ago, and yet we have completely...
Not going back.
No, well, not even that. But, I mean, look at the technology today
Right.
from then.
Right.
And, you know,
But what would be the purpose of going back?
Well, I mean, it's just
There's not really a purpose.
No, there is a purpose. There is a purpose for going back to the moon because first of all, if we keep treating our Earth like we are,
We're going to have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's why they are exploring Mars.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know, you know, how livable Mars would be. I know the moon's only, 238,000 miles away. It would take you 2 days in a spacecraft to get from Earth to the moon. So, you know, when you hear it like that, it doesn't sound like it would be that impossible of a feat to do. I mean,
right.
With our technology.
Right.
But I don't know.
But if you think about like the nearest star to us, it's like 180 million miles
Light
away.
years
Like
away or
where,
something,
yeah, it would take like years and years and years and years to get there.
It would, but that's a star. The moon's only 238,000 miles away.
Yeah, but when I'm saying a star is going to have other solar, it's going to have maybe have other solar systems where there is life, where we're thinking maybe these UFOs are coming from. Obviously, they're more intelligent than we are because they made it to the Earth before we made it to them.
Yeah, I get that, but you know, we're not even close to being able to get anywhere close to a light year's universe right now. I mean, that's we don't have the technology to travel the speed of light.
Would our bodies be able to withstand traveling at the speed of light?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I didn't think about that.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends, I guess, on what you're in to travel.
I mean,
You know,
well,
I mean, you're going to have to be in something that is going to be, you know, so pressurized or whatever the case is that, you know, I mean, you could withstand it.
I mean,
but-
if you're in a spacecraft or a jet or some type of military jet and it takes off real fast, you know how it makes your body feel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even-
G-forces.
Yeah, and it's not even going at the speed of light. Now, do you know how fast that is?
But you got to think, in space, there's really no G-forces.
No G-forces.
Yeah, because you're weightless. And the
Yeah.
whole thing with G's is weighted. So
yeah.
on Earth you have G forces,
Yeah.
and they do in the space shuttle when they launch to the not to the moon, but to wherever they're going into the space station.
Right.
They have G forces going up, and when they're entering the atmosphere. But as soon as they get up there is no G forces anymore. There might be, weightlessness. I guess technically is a no. That's not really a G force either. But you get what I'm saying.
So I guess we take it back to that question. Mr. Tutt and Chad Freeman, do you agree or disagree with Trump's policy of building this? And I would like to know what other people that are listening in, I'd like you to chat and just say, do you believe in the Space Force? I mean, I want you to chat and let us know what you feel about it.
Well, and it's not really believing in it. Obviously, it's may or may not happen. We don't really know yet. The thing about the space program is it has to be approved by Congress. So it's not something that Trump can just do and then it's there. But from what I've read is we are doing we're going through a lot of steps right now to be able to have that. So, and then it'll come down to a Congress vote. But what I will say is there's a high ranking Democrat in Congress that has agreed with it.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's a Democrat. He's a high ranking. I don't remember what the name is, but that guy said, I think that we should have a Space Force. He understands, he or she understands the fact of why we need it. It has nothing to do with aliens, and even if it does, we don't know, and we're never going to know. But and if you think about the reality of this, guys, just think about this. Do you really think that we could make anything to protect our planet from alien life? I don't think we could. You can make a space program, but, if somebody is advanced enough to travel through time, and really that's, kind of what you'd be doing. If there's anybody out there that can travel that far, that fast, and make it to Earth, they are way more advanced than we are, like you said earlier. And our little space program, they'll laugh at our space program probably.
That's why I told Sherry, if it is to protect us against Russia or China or any other country, I'm for it. But if it's to protect us against aliens, it would be a waste of time.
Exactly. And that was going to be my second point. Like, would you be for this program if it was protecting us from other countries?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm completely on board with that. But I think that's why people are on board with it. But if you look at the media, any of you listening right now, go look at the media. Just go type in Trump Space Force. Here, I'll do it right now. I'll do it on my phone. I'm just curious what some of the top headlines will be. And the reason for that is because I can guarantee you CNN or any of the rest of them, MSNBC for sure. So the very first headline is, what will Trump's Space Force cost? The Pentagon hasn't figured that out yet. That's CNBC. What's the deal with Trump's Space Force and how will it affect the future of warfare? So at least that one gets it right because they know it's warfare. It's a warfare thing. It's not a hey, let's protect ourselves from alien life. But this goes to the point. I truly 100% believe our government knows there are UFOs.
Oh, absolutely.
I if I had to bet my life on it, there's no way in some classified building or somewhere else, and maybe that's Area 51, I don't know, but there's no way in hell you're going to tell me they don't know that there's alien life. They didn't create Area 51 for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how people get to Area 51?
No.
You know how the workers get there?
They have to fly or something, right?
They fly there in a 747, but it has no windows.
Right.
And when they get on board or when they get on the ground at Area 51, they are, I believe I've read some of them are blindfolded and they're taken to their location.
In a limo with the windows black.
Yep. And they're taken to what they're working on.
Right.
That's all they can see.
Right.
And then they get back in and they go.
Right.
And, of course, one of the articles on Forbes says 10 ways a Space Force will make America weaker. Defense Secretary Mattis influence slipping after he ignored Trump's deal on Space Force. Donald Trump's Space Force plans analyzed by sci-fi expert. Roger Stone shares Space Force picture bearing whatever. Pros and cons of Trump's Space Force. Neil deGrasse Tyson suggests a better alternative to Trump's Space Force. And I will say, I don't know if you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, he's a smart dude.
Yeah,
I've
watched a few of his videos.
Yeah, he was actually on Joe Rogan podcast.
Really?
Yeah, and it was good. It was very good.
Is he a conservative?
Liberal? No, he's a liberal.
Okay.
He's actually an atheist.
What?
Yeah, he's an atheist. And the funny thing is, on the Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and I'm plugging Joe Rogan even though he's not paying me to do that. I wish he was. But on the Joe Rogan podcast, he said, it's funny because he said, people classify me as an atheist. And he said, and there was something someone said. It says, well, if you don't believe in this, then you're not an atheist. And he says, well, maybe I'm not then, because like I don't necessarily believe in everything you're saying. I mean, I think he believes there's possibilities of stuff out there. You know, he's not closed-minded, and I believe atheists are completely closed-minded people. So, but that's a whole nother subject we'll talk about some other day. But anyway, so on the Trump Space Force thing, yes, I 100% believe it's needed. I believe it's needed for warfare purposes rather than, you know, maybe defending our country against aliens, because that shit wouldn't work anyway.
No.
You know, I think it would be completely stupid to do that. But we also have to keep in mind in the back of our head, we don't know what the government knows.
Oh yeah, that is true.
And we don't know how advanced we may or may not be.
Do you think that the Space Force will be too independent? I mean, let's just say if they need backup, who are they going to call?
Ghostbusters. I'm just saying, man.
I mean, it's like the Air Force can't go up there and save them or help them.
No. Well, no, they can't. It would be standalone.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think, you know, the weird thing is I don't even know if the government knows. I'm sure maybe they know, but I mean, are we going to have like little spacecraft flying around? I mean, I've heard, you know, there was an actual article that talked about, you know, Star Wars fans, before you get all excited, we're not going to have little flying things that have, you know, laser shooters on it. That's not what it's going to be. But I would be curious to see how far we might take that, you know?
But, you know, technological wise, the government or the elite, they are like 25 or 30 years ahead of the public as far as what they know what's going to happen. They know things. They knew about the Space Force 30 years ago, you know, 40 years ago.
But why do you think this is all secret to us? Why doesn't the public know?
Well, they don't want us to panic, you know, get into this big, you know, conspiracy about why are they doing this? Are there really aliens? That's why they won't tell us if aliens really exist. They think the public will panic, go into a frenzy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But really, would we? I don't know. Maybe the liberals would.
I mean, over the last 10 years, there's been so much talk about it. I don't think it would be much of a big deal now.
Liberals will be scared as shit.
You
know, liberals would probably try to get the aliens on their side.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
They would hate Trump. Like, wouldn't there be some shit? Like, if aliens landed and they had, like, an anti-Trump, you know, flag. Like, we'd be like, holy shit, man. The liberals got to the damn aliens already. Like, and just so happens the damn spacecraft landed in California. Isn't that some shit?
The most liberal state.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely. And, you know, California keeps saying, well, we're going to separate from the Union, and I wish the hell they would.
Well, China owns California now. I mean, a lot of people don't know that. But
well, hell, Apple's going to China, and
is that right?
Yeah, Apple's
China's the new world power, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but,
so
you know,
let's jump on to another subject.
Yeah, I mean, the Trump Space Force thing is crazy to me. I don't know. I believe we need it, but I believe we need it for the warfare purposes and not the defending us from aliens.
No, that would be a waste of time.
I believe so, but I'm definitely excited to talk more about the alien thing, because there's so much more I could talk about what I believe in the UFOs and aliens and everything else, that it's crazy. But yeah, so Molly Tibbetts murder.
Wow, 20 years old, man. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
So,
but the fact that, you know, this is going to sound bad. I'm just going to warn you. But why are we talking about it?
Why are we talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, why is Molly Tibbetts so important that we're discussing it right now on our first podcast ever?
Well, I mean, she was young. She was a young, you know, college student that lost her life. I mean, you know.
Well, okay.
But
how many? Just let me ask you, how many girls under the age of 21 do you think gets murdered a year?
Oh, a whole bunch of them.
You think?
Oh yeah.
But why is this one so huge? And why was it huge from the very beginning?
Oh, I know why. The accused killer is a illegal immigrant from another country.
True. And do you know that the fact is that nearly half of all murdered women are killed by a romantic partner?
Is that so?
Yeah, nearly half.
Wow.
Nearly half of all women. So, I mean, you know, I would like to know where the rest of those women come from, but I guess what's a little confusing to me is why, from the very beginning, that Molly Tibbetts, if I'm saying that correctly, why as soon as she, went missing. Yeah, well, as soon as she went missing, it was all over the news, man. It was on everything. Everything. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not going conspiracy necessarily. I'm just saying it was just weird. Like, do you know how many women go missing all the time, and the mainstream media does not pick it up?
The strange thing to me about the whole thing was that her body was found on Tuesday morning, and the police arrested this guy a couple of hours later. I mean, it as if they already knew who did it. I mean, it was fast. I mean, you find her body, Tuesday morning, and you arrest the guy a couple of hours later. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, and he led them to her body.
He led them to the body. How in the world did they know where he was?
I don't know. It's weird because, and some of you out there may be able to tell us this, but it is strange because that reading and doing some research, I never heard like how long after he led them to their body.
It was the same day.
So exact same day.
Yeah. Well, they had to contact him first to find the body.
Yeah.
See, the stories are not adding up. It's like I read they found her Tuesday morning. They arrested him Tuesday afternoon. And then I read that he led them to the body. Oh, that's strange.
It is weird.
Kind of makes me wonder what you said about the conspiracy thing with Trump talking about all these illegal aliens in our country and they need to go. This might be something to spark whatever Trump's trying to accomplish.
Well, here's the thing with so this is something we'll somewhat disagree on, and not really disagree, because I can't help but to think that obviously in the very beginning you think like, oh my God, like this dude killed this girl. Well, no one knew what the hell happened to her in the beginning. Nobody knew. Nobody had any idea.
Right.
This girl disappears from jogging. And then, it was weird. It was literally like 20 minutes after she disappears from jogging.
Yeah.
MSNBC, CNN,
yeah.
Fox News.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it. They had it on their broadcast. They were like, Molly Tibbetts has disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how many other women disappeared that week in this country? I mean, I don't know. I would have to do the actual statistics on that. But how many other women? Why are those women not on the media? Why are they not on CNN and MSNBC? But the whole conspiracy thing, the only reason I would say why it wouldn't be, because with a conspiracy, like she was on the media from the very beginning. She was on the news. She was on this as soon as she disappeared. Obviously, MSNBC, CNN, all those news outlets, they hate Trump. They are absolutely anti-Trump.
What about Fox News?
Well, Fox News isn't, but but CNN. Well, I mean, I say in whole Fox News isn't. Majority, the majority of them.
Right.
But why? I guess my point is like it doesn't make sense to me because, if it was a conspiracy to prove the point of why illegal immigrants shouldn't be in the country, then all these media outlets that hate Trump would not have picked it up. You know what I mean? I mean, because that would just prove his point.
Right.
And, but, and here's the thing, my only question to that whole side of the story is, what if, though, that someone saw that this story was getting so much attention and they were like, hey, we need to go arrest an illegal immigrant.
Right, exactly.
For this murder.
Exactly.
Not saying that's the case, but,
Were they not offering like a major award, and maybe that's why it went public?
Not to my knowledge. I didn't read that there was a reward for his arrest.
I didn't either. I didn't see anything about a reward. But this guy, they're coming after his employer hard. And the employer even said, look, we went through the E-Verify system, which is to verify someone's right to work in the United States as a legal citizen. That's what E-Verify is. It's the government system to, tell an employer whether they have the legal right to work or not. And he passed that. He passed the E-Verify system. But yet he's an illegal. So I don't know. That seems weird to me.
Even though he's admitted to doing it, I'm still not buying into it, man, because he had to get a new attorney, and his new attorneys picked up the case. I mean, if you got a guy that is admitting to a murder, why would any lawyer pick that case up?
Well,
they're going to lose. I mean, I know it's maybe for the money, but, it's going to go
they
on your
do
record.
every day, though.
Well, unless it's like public assistance or whatever.
No,
did he have a private lawyer?
It's a private lawyer.
Really?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, he did. And this is, I guess, his second private attorney now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the Molly Tibbetts thing is weird. I mean, I got to say, it's a very strange thing because of the fact that, it's just weird how it was so publicized, and then it just happens to be an illegal immigrant. And look, here's my stance on illegal immigration, okay? I am 100% pro-Trump when it comes to this. 100%. I'm not racist, obviously. I'm sitting next to a black man, which just so happens to be one of my best friends. Probably really my best friend now, because I've lost so many, especially during this political shit. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people I do not talk to now that I used to after this election.
Wow, dude.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of these people probably think I'm crazy because I support Trump, but I look at some of these liberal friends that I never knew I had until the election, and they are absolutely batshit crazy.
Are you serious?
They're just batshit crazy, man. I mean, they will take up. I mean, I saw somewhere that the damn Molly Tibbetts people, when they set this guy's bond, for murdering her, I think it was like $5 million.
Yeah,
$1 million cash bond, I think it was, or some shit. There was people creating GoFundMes to get him out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and so that's pretty extreme, but then that's also why I don't talk to a lot of the people that I either grew up with or whatever. And I had some black friends, man. I grew up in a predominantly black school, especially in elementary and middle school, I guess you can say. I mean, it was very mixed population. And there were a lot of people on my Facebook that were some of my black friends growing up that, are probably definitely very liberal, very democratic. And some of the stuff I would post pro-Trump or anti-liberal or whatever the hell it was, they would come on there and be like, Chad, man, I cannot believe that you say that, but we cool. You know what I mean? It's like, those people are cool. There's going to be difference of opinions, but, dude, it's like, I mean, the shit liberals are doing nowadays is absolutely fucking crazy. Like, it is.
Really?
I mean, dude, you had to have seen some of this stuff out there. I mean, and so the Molly Tibbetts thing, and I've heard about the GoFundMes, and they're setting up GoFundMes for a murderers, whatever. I mean, it just blows my mind. And the only reason they're doing that is because they know that Trump, his whole campaign, his whole presidency, his platform is illegal immigration is bad because and it is bad because when someone's illegal, it's very hard to prosecute. It's hard to do all that shit. In the past, under Obama and all those, if an illegal alien, killed somebody, guess what they did? They just got deported, usually.
Yeah, that's true.
They would go in the court system, and then they get deported, and then guess what? A month later, they'd be back in the United States. Killing somebody else, probably. And then, I know specifically because I worked, I used to install hardwood, and we had a bunch of Hispanics that worked with us. And there was one guy that had stabbed his girlfriend like 15 times the night before, and I went to work the next day, and the police showed up at the place I worked, and they were looking for this guy. And the police were like, no, I mean, he's gone, but he's probably gone back to Mexico. I mean, because this is what they do. They commit some crazy-ass crime like that, and they just go back to Mexico.
Right.
Never to be heard from again.
Right. And that serves the point that these people are not illegal immigrants. They are just undocumented, because if you're doing something illegal, you're going to go to jail, not get deported.
Well, they're illegal for being here without being legal, without going through the process of being an American.
Right. But if they were here illegally, if they're illegal, you can put them in jail, but you can't put them in jail. You just have to send them back.
Which I think you can. You can hold them, but it's like...
They can't get sentenced.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they deport them, and it's
Right,
like
right.
it's a
They're just-
stupid-ass thing.
I would say more undocumented. I mean, I don't know where the term illegal alien came from, but...
Well, illegal just comes from the fact that... You got to think, man. You know, a lot of people want to say, oh, my God, Trump is racist against Mexicans. That's bullshit. And I'll tell you why. It's because there are... I mean, you're not going to see this on CNN or MSNBC, but... there are so many Hispanics out there that have done their due process. They have went through the process of becoming an illegal citizen of the United States, which is not an easy process. I mean, honestly, I would say 40-50% of Americans, if they took the citizenship test, which is an actual thing, they would fail the test.
Yes.
So, you know, it's like, what the hell? I mean, so there are Hispanics out there that have went through the process. They've done the paperwork. They've waited. They've done this. They've done that. They've suffered, you know, the waiting game and all this shit to become American citizens. Those people are pissed off at illegal immigrants too.
You know, there's a lot of Hispanic people that are against those. So, you know, undocumented people that are coming over here. A lot of them. I've seen it. I've heard it.
But you ain't gonna hear it on CNN. You
won't hear it on CNN.
You ain't gonna hear it on CNN or MSNBC. It was because it's you know, that's not the liberal agenda.
Maybe Univision or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Univision. You'll probably hear it for sure.
So this is a little off topic of what we're going to talk about, but I'm just curious about like what your view is. You know, we're talking about illegal immigrants. And it was just a few weeks ago when children were being separated from their families for weeks, maybe months at a time.
Yes.
Like, how do you support that?
How do you support that?
Yeah, how do you support that? Children being away from their families because they're illegal.
In cages, putting them in cages.
Well, you want me to tell you how you support that? I support it 100%.
Oh my goodness. How could you support that, man?
No, I support it 100%.
Oh no.
Oh, first of all, if you go on let me just explain this. If you go on the internet and you look up the child in cages, Mexico, whatever, just type in some keywords, child in cage, Mexico. It'll bring up an image of a staged. This is probably liberals, if I had to guess. No bullshit. Staged Mexican. Here, I'm gonna look it up. Staged Mexican kids in cage picture. Look that up, guys. Let me see if I can find it. Staged Mexican. Oh, yep. Hold on. I know it's here. So if you look up staged Mexican kids in cages, there is an image online that shows a picture of a kid hanging onto a cage. He's in a blue shirt, and it looks so much like he's just, you know, distraught and everything else. And then it shows in the same picture, this was like in a parking lot they did this picture. And they had like a half cage, and they made the kids go stand behind. They made the kids go stand behind the cage to take the picture, to look like he's in this, you know, barbaric cage. And then the kid came back around and went to his mom, like, "Hey, let's go home, Mom."
Oh, that was fake.
It ain't fake. It's true, because that was
fake.
That was the picture that was going viral all over the internet.
I don't believe
what
that.
Nick is saying that's a fake picture. It's not real. Like, we're
That wasn't
in
real.
cages.
Right.
But what I'm saying is what? Okay, look. But here's the thing. This is how I support it 100%. Because say that Mr. Tut, you go out right now. Say you go out. Say you got your kids with you, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you have kids or not, we won't go there. We won't talk personal. But no, what I'm saying is, say if you have kids and you go out there right now and you rob a bank. Okay?
Right.
Are you going to take your kids to prison?
No.
Are you going to be separated from them?
Yes.
Exactly. So when your ass comes across that border, when you know damn good and well you ain't supposed
illegal.
to. No, yeah, and that is illegal. It's illegal to enter the country illegally. How about why don't you go enter China illegally? Go do that shit and see what happens. Or go to Russia and see what happens. Because I guarantee you, it's not going to be like the U.S. where they're going to, because honestly, like the kids that are, they are placed in places that is humane. It is somewhere where they have food and water and the necessary things that they need. You're not going to get, the things in Russia and China like you do in the United States. You're just not going to. So my point is that if you come in the country illegally and you're separated from your kids, that's your own damn fault. You as a parent are putting them in that position. And I know it sounds crazy because it's like, a lot of people, their argument is, well, I mean, but it's so bad. It's like, but they're fleeing murder and drug lords and all this stuff.
Okay, I understand them, being over here getting, deported or whatever, or put in cages or put in jail or whatever. But if you raid a house with, a wife, a husband, and 3 kids, don't separate the family. Put them all in one place until you can deport them. I mean, why separate the family? I'm just against separating those kids from their parents.
Well, I mean, it's because, we're not doing it like Obama did, where we just, it's a repetitive process for on and on and on and on and on. No, what I'm saying is, the reason why I'm saying we don't do it like Obama did is that when illegal immigrants came into the country illegally, Obama didn't give a shit. And if they did get caught by law enforcement, they would just be deported, and then they would come right back a week later, and then they'd be deported again, and then they'd come back a week later. You know how much taxpayers' money that is? So
you don't think that these people are going to do the same process about coming back?
But the United States now is starting to prosecute people coming into the country, and that's where this whole separating from kids is coming into play. Because America is trying to save these people. Look, you come into our country, you can be prosecuted. And that means you separating yourself from your kids. That means you possibly going to jail. It means you going to prison. It means whatever it means, but you're not doing this shit anymore. And so back when, back in the Trump or in the Obama days, they just deported, and it was an ongoing process. And the ones that, were, illegal, all of them. But what I'm saying is the ones that came in the country over and over again, eventually they would kind of find themselves in society and live illegally and do probably like this guy, Tibbetts Murder. He would find his way into fake documents to be able to get a job, and then to finally, and I'm not saying all Hispanics are bad at all, but I do believe that by letting anyone and everyone in our country, you're letting the good and the bad in. It's not just the bad, and it's not just the good. You're letting everyone in. And there has to be a vetting process before you come in our country. There has to be.
And I just want to add to that, like when Obama was in, in whatever.
Office.
In office, I'm sorry. Not only were we letting illegal immigrants, but this was a way for ISIS to come into our country. And that's what really scared me. Like, I knew that they were coming through Mexico and walking through the borders just like everybody else. And, that's scary because like 3 ISIS can be like bombers or whatever at a marathon or whatever else. And they're going to come right in through Mexico. That's why we have to have borders. We have to protect ourselves from people that are going to attack us. It's not just like Mexicans that are coming in illegally. We have to worry about the people that are here to attack us and to hurt us. And so we have to stop the borders altogether.
I agree. Because, if you're a terrorist over there, what's the easiest place to get into? Well, you can get into, honestly, it's probably damn harder to get into Mexico than it is the United States.
Yeah. I mean, bro, to be honest, there's terrorist cells all across the continental United States, man.
And in other countries.
Yes. I lived in New York City, and there's terrorist cells there's terrorists in New York City. They just haven't been given the go ahead to do what they have to do yet. But
Terrorist cells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underground.
Oh, people don't believe that though.
What?
Oh yeah, people don't believe that shit exists. I mean,
okay.
I believe people that support Trump and conservatives believe that because that's been proven over and over again.
Yes.
But the liberals don't believe it, or I'm not saying they don't believe it, but that goes against what they're preaching. And every time they block Trump from, passing this borders law, this keeping people out from certain countries, known terrorist countries. That's the reason Trump does that, the travel ban, is because he doesn't just want anyone and everyone coming in the damn country.
Right.
Because,
right.
I mean, that's how the terrorist cells are getting in the United States. I mean, the World Trade Center people, they lived in Florida. Yeah, they lived in Vero Beach, Florida, and they lived there for a while. No one knew anything about it. They got into the country, however they did, and then guess what happened? Thousands of Americans died. And so if you're going to seriously sit there and be like, oh my God, I can't believe Trump is not letting people in from countries that are known terrorist countries. That's like so horrible. Like we need to care about them so much. Well, when the hell are we going to care about ourselves? And honestly, that's why I love Trump, because Trump actually seems like he gives a shit about the country and the people here. And it goes back to, this is a whole nother subject, but it goes to the whole rioting in Charlotte and Dallas and Chicago or Ferguson and all those other places where Obama basically took the side of the rioters instead of the damn police. So, I mean, and it's true, but Trump is on the side of police. Now, I'm not saying that all police officers are good or bad, but whatever. But yeah, so the Molly Tibbetts thing, It is weird that it just so happened to be an illegal immigrant, but that's not the only girl that has been killed at the hands of an illegal immigrant, and there's been a lot. I mean, in comparison to black on black crime in Chicago, is nowhere close.
No, not exactly.
But it doesn't seem like, I do want to touch on this real quick because we don't have that on our show list, but I definitely want to touch on this because it kind of leads into that. The black on black crime thing. We were talking about this the other night, Mr. Tutt, and you remember this because we had a discussion about this, and I'm sure some of you will agree. Obama, he was in office 8 years, and that is his home city, is Chicago. And Sherry's mom lives in Chicago. Sherry visits Chicago quite a bit. And, the one thing that I can say about Chicago is Obama did nothing for the people of Chicago.
I agree. He absolutely.
He did absolutely not a damn thing. And so the question you asked me the other day, though, was, well, why hasn't Trump done anything yet? Like, what is he waiting on? So my response to that was, the other night, was, if Trump goes in, and this is what I believe, if Trump goes into Chicago and he says, okay, guys, we're going to send the National Guard in Chicago and we're going to stop the gang violence. We're going to stop it no matter what. Because that's what you got to do. You can't half-ass go into Chicago and be like, well, we're going to try to police Chicago and kind of see what happens. No, that ain't going to work because it's just not going to work. It's not possible. So if you go into Chicago, you have to go into Chicago like a badass. In Trump style, I will say, and you got to be cocky and you got to be, arrogant, and you got to say, this is the law. This is what the hell is happening. Whoever's on board with it is on board with it. Whoever isn't, your ass is going to jail. And if you try to shoot us, you're dead. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, you want to put your gangs against our military. Cool. But the reason Trump has not done that yet is because as soon as the National Guard goes in Chicago and they really legitly stop violence, and part of that's probably going to be shooting black people. I mean, let's just be honest. There's no way in hell those gangs are going to just lay down and be like, here's my guns, and here, you can take me to jail. I'll go to jail freely. No, it ain't going to happen because they're going to shoot, and when they do, they're going to get their ass busted. And then guess what the media is going to say the whole next week? Genocide. President Trump is killing black people.
Oh, no, I don't think so, man.
That's what it's going to be, dude, 100%.
You have to look at it this way, man. If it's going to stop people from dying and going to stop innocent children from being in crossfire, I'm all for it. I mean, something needs to be done about that. It really, truly, even if you have to enforce martial law, for 6 months to a year, straighten those people out, man. Whatever is going on in Chicago it makes no sense.
And it doesn't. And I'm just going to say, when I visit like twice a year, like literally, my mom's an older woman or whatever, and she drives a little, BMW or whatever. But it's so funny because when we're driving home from the airport, we have to go 30 minutes out of the way to like not go to Southside Chicago because she's scared to even drive by there because she's afraid she's going to be shot up.
Wow.
Or if we get lost, because she's not good with GPS or whatever, and we end up in the wrong street, something's going to happen to us. And, she would rather drive 30 minutes out of the way and stay away from that area. And that's just, it's just
smart.
heartbreaking.
Right, it is.
And then
It
you
truly
think
is.
about, like, when I come to visit my mom, she's like, Sherry, 10 kids were killed today. 10 kids were killed yesterday. I mean, it's innocent 7-year-olds,
Right, that's
6-year-olds.
exactly my point.
It's innocent children.
That's exactly
being
my point.
murdered
Right.
daily.
That's
and
right.
nothing is being done about it.
Nothing is being done about it. Nothing is being done about it.
But it goes back to, I'm telling you right now, man, Trump goes in there, National Guard kills some black people because he's probably going to have to. I don't give a shit who you are. You got to kill some people in there. I mean, that sounds bad. I'm just saying it will happen. I mean, there's no way in hell you're going to Chicago and you're going to just go in there and clean shit up by good old-fashioned police work. It ain't going to work because as soon as you start confronting these gang members, which are also very proud of their city and their clique and their gang, it's going to be a war.
It's going to be a war.
And they're going to lose is the bad thing.
Hey.
By a lot.
If you look at, I don't mean to cut you off, Chad,
No,
but
go ahead.
if you look at Los Angeles, when you think of street gangs and gang violence, you think of Los Angeles. You haven't heard anything about Los Angeles gang banging in the last 10, 15 years.
Not since
Back in the
since,
day.
like Rodney King was the last time I heard of any
Right,
kind
right.
of violence.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. You haven't heard about L.A. gangs in a long
Well,
time.
that wasn't really. The Rodney King wasn't really gang
That
violence.
wasn't
but,
gang violence,
But you
but-
think about
But it was.
Compton and Oakland and
Right, right,
the
exactly.
West Side, East Side back in the
Right.
day. Snoop Dogg and
Right. You don't hear about that stuff anymore in L.A. Even though it still exists, they've got it somewhat under control.
wasn't Biggie East Coast?
Yeah,
Biggie was
he
East
New York.
Coast.
He was New York.
Yeah, and
Brooklyn.
then Tupac was West Coast, right?
Right, but he was from New York.
What did they do to get their gang violence under control? What did they do that Chicago's not doing?
Starts with leadership.
Yeah, Joe.
Starts with the mayor,
That's a good point.
the governor. Those guys got to get together and come up with some type of game plan.
Hey,
And
let
it
me.
seems like they're a little bit crooked. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah.
I'm glad
well-
you brought that up. I have something to say about that.
Well, let me ask you though. Who is the Democratic? Oh, sorry, I gave it away. Who's the mayor of
Jerry
Chicago?
Brown? Oh, Chicago. That's a good question.
I'm pretty sure he's Democrat though.
They have an election coming up. I don't know if it was this week or next week. I heard it last night. They have a some type of election coming up.
So let me ask you a quick question, and we'll get to that conspiracy. Oh yeah, Rahm Emanuel. He is the mayor, and I'm pretty sure he is Democratic, positive almost. But what if there was a Republican mayor there? Do you think the same thing would be happening?
No, well, possibly not, because that's somebody Trump could do business with.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, that's just how politics operate,
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that's what's sad. But I still say the reason Trump isn't is because he knows the hellfire that he's going to get for going in Chicago. And as soon as black people are killed, it's going to be Trump. He's racist, and he's killing black people with the military.
Well, if it's gonna save the children, man, I'm all with it. I'm all with it.
I hear that.
I'm all for it.
So, yeah, I mean that's definitely something that you got to think about. Hopefully, I do hope Trump in his coming time. I hope he figures out a way to do something. And if he can, then that's awesome. But I mean, if he does, I mean, he's the only one that's done anything so far about North Korea. He's got the furthest with North Korea that any other president has got. So he needs to turn that same passion into Chicago. Somebody needs to. I mean, because it's killing innocent people.
And that brings up a point to me, and I'm not sure who you need to contact, but I'm saying if you have a compassion for these people that are being killed, these young children, people that are afraid to drive in the streets, you need to email, contact these local politicians,
right? Exactly.
And get on their back.
Exactly.
The more people that are on their back, the more they're going to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe they'll do something, but if most of these people probably listen to this show will be more conservative, so they're probably not going to listen to you.
No, I think
I'm just saying.
No, conservative people are going to listen, Chad.
Yeah, conservative people are going to listen. I'm saying the people they're going to contact to stop violence in Chicago is Democrats. So they don't, obviously if they cared enough, Sherry, they would be doing something.
But the best thing we can do is stay on their backs and say, do something. If we have the whole United States on their backs, not just Chicago, not just, a few people, everyone needs to contact them and say, we are tired of these murders. Children are being murdered. We have to do something about that.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it would be awesome, but if the president can't do anything so far because of a Democratic leader, then it's going to be tough.
Well, here's the thing. Let me say this real quick. One thing that a lot of people may not understand about, the president of the United States, the president's main objective as the chief operating, politician is to handle foreign affairs. Even though he can, do things within the states, it's just that his main objective is to handle foreign affairs. That's why the midterm elections and all the local elections are so very important. He can work through those people to get things done in, as far as in the states.
True.
As far as in the states goes.
Well, it'll be good. It'll be, I'll be curious to see what happens with it. I mean, and the election's coming up in 2020, but we got the midterms coming up pretty soon. And
about November, I think.
I have a bad feeling about that because if the Democrats get elected in there, Trump might not be in office anymore, which will be complete shit.
Oh my goodness! I'm not going to even comment on that one, man.
It'll be ridiculous.
I'm not going to even comment on that one.
But anyways, guys, we're going to take a quick break. It'll probably be about 5 or 6 minutes. So if you want to go and get your glass of wine or whatever you got, go get it, and we will be right back.
The topics are going to get hot soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So actually, coming up, just to let you guys know, we're going to talk about the Arkansas statue controversy. Many of you maybe not have heard about that, but it's pretty crazy. Actually, Mr. Tutt is the one that brought me on that. A little bit about it is I think they're wanting to reinstate the Ten Commandments statue.
Yeah, the
and
Ten
now
Commandments got destroyed. Somebody hit it with a car.
Yeah, and then so now there are some Satan worshipers, right? That want to put up their stuff.
They want to put up theirs.
And legally, they might be able to do it, which is crazy. We're also going to talk about Todd Colett. Now, some of you, if you're not from this area, you might not know about him, but he's a serial killer that held a girl captive in a container for quite a while. I mean, it was like 4 months, I believe, 3 months. But we want to go a little deeper on that subject because victim is getting bullied now, which is kind of crazy. Cyberbullied. And we're going to talk about the Florida shooting that just happened. And we're also going to talk about the New York Times article, which is crazy because, we can't really expect a lot out of the New York Times. But, the New York Times article on how far America has fallen since Trump's been in office.
Ooh.
So that'll be pretty interesting. But anyways, guys, we will be back in a short break.
I can still shut down the party. I can hang with anybody. I can drink whiskey and red wine, champagne all night, little scotch on the rocks, and I'm fine. But when I taste tequila, baby, I still see ya cutting up the Florida sorority t-shirt. the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Your lips pressed against the bottle, slamming on a Bible, baby, I'd never leave you. I remember how bad I need you when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila, I can kiss somebody brand new and not even think about you. I can show up to the same bar, hear the same songs in my car. Baby, your memory, it only hits me this hard. When I taste tequila, baby, I still see you cutting up the Florida sorority t-shirt, the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Your lips pressed against the bottle, slamming on a Bible, baby, I'd never leave you. I remember how bad I need you when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila. I ain't even drunk, and I'm thinking how I need your love, yeah, it sinks in. When I taste tequila, baby, I still see you. Sorority t-shirt, the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Your lips pressed against the bottle, swimming on a Bible, baby, I never leave you. I remember how bad I need you when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila. When I taste tequila. When I taste tequila.
Met a man wearing a t-shirt said Virginia is for lovers. Had a Bible in his left hand and a bottle in the other. He said all you're really given is the sunshine in your name. We both started laughing when the sky started to rain. Get along on down the road, we got a long, long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, drink a beer, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along? Saw a model on a billboard, 1-800 get to know me. Wondered was she photoshopped or were her eyes really that lonely? Did she leave her hometown thinking she'd end up in LA? Did she break down in the desert and get stuck beside the highway? Get along on down the road, we got a long, long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, drink a beer, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along? When you die, the keys to heaven can't be bought. The Still don't know what love is, but we sure know what it's not. Sometimes you got to get along down the road. We got a long, long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, drink a beer, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along?
Sorry, volume was down there a little bit, but we are back. Welcome back to the second half of our True Patriot podcast. So, Mr. Tut, did you get a good break?
I did.
Right.
Refreshing.
Good. We need it. All right, guys. So we've talked about the Trump Space Force program. That was pretty interesting. The Molly Tibbetts murder, and now we're on the Arkansas statue controversy.
Yes.
Which, Mr. Tut, this was your subject, actually.
Yeah, I ran across it on Google. It came across on my phone, and I saw that on the Arkansas state grounds at the Capitol building, somebody went in and destroyed the Ten Commandments statue. And I think it might have been a couple of days later, these group of Satanists came in and brought a Baphomet statue and want to put it up on state grounds. But as far as I understand, by law, you can't force a state or a city or a government entity to put any type of monument on any type of grounds. But they are seriously trying to get it accomplished.
Yeah, this article on The Independent says Satanic Temple sparks uproar by unveiling statue of goat-headed winged creature called Baphomet in Arkansas state capitol. And it looks like it'll say the state senator said it'll be a very cold day in hell before an offensive statue will be forced upon us to be permanently erected on the grounds of the Arkansas state capitol, state senator said. So are they, I guess they're talking about the actual satanic statue, right?
Yes, the Baphomet is supposed to be half.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Half male, half female.
So it's satanic. It's a goat / male, female something with wings.
Creepy little sucker.
And it says Satan has turned out to cheer the unveiling of a bronze statue dedicated to a goat-headed winged creature called Baphomet in Little Rock, Arkansas. The Satanic Temple organization arranged a rally outside of Arkansas State Capitol building to protest a Ten Commandments monument already on the grounds. Although the striking 8.5-foot tall icon was only allowed to be on display temporarily, Satanists argued that they should be allowed to erect the winged goat effigy on a permanent basis under freedom of religion rights outlined in the U.S. Constitution. But the Satanic Arkansas's co-founder Ivy Forrester, one of the rally organizers, said if you're going to have one religious monument up, then it should be open to others. And if you don't agree with that, then let's just not have any at all. It says the display inspired a counter-protest by Christian activists, while a leading Republican politician in the state condemned the satanic icon as offensive. So what is your thoughts on it? Because, I mean, I think the whole kind of controversy is like, well, if Christians are allowed to have a Ten Commandments statue, then why can't Satanists?
Well, I mean, according to the United States Constitution, you know, they do have the right to do so. But at the same time, by law, they can't force the government to put it on state grounds. They can't force them to put it there. So they probably can put it anywhere else, but, you know, if the government doesn't want it there, then they're not allowed to put it there.
That's what's crazy to me, that is absolutely batshit crazy. And that little thing looks like a bat.
Man, that thing is creepy, man.
Yeah, I mean, it looks some weird ass shit. But I think more so whether or not you can or can legally have a statue of Satan's goat freaking winged thing. I think really what it says is where our culture has freaking went.
Well, I mean,
in 2018.
You know, if you know anything about, you know, a little bit about the Bible, just what you just said, you know, King Solomon said that there is nothing new under the sun. So, I mean, it's been going on forever. And, you know, when Moses came back down from Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments, the children of Israel, the Israelites, were making images of wood and stone, statues just like this, worshiping all, you know, the Baphomet and all that. And they were punished for it, you know. And I mean, it's still going on today. There's nothing new under the sun.
So I guess that, you know, obviously in the Constitution, I mean, freedom of religion is
right.
You know, is a thing, but I mean, but what good does Satanists bring to the? I mean, to the community.
To the community.
Yeah, like what
is evil? I mean, Satan is evil. There's nothing good about Satan.
And we want to hear you guys' opinion. Should I mean, given the right to religion and the freedom of religion in the Constitution, do you think that they should be allowed to erect a satanic statue? I don't think so. I mean, and I'll tell you why, because like, I mean, when was the last time that Satan has ever said, "Hey guys, you need to be good to those poor people down the street," or whatever the case is? It just don't happen. And you know, it's a scary place that the United States is in, and people want to talk shit about Trump. I mean, come on, man.
Well, what those Satanist people are going to really find out, and what they don't really understand, is that they think Satan, just because they support Satan, they think Satan loves them. But when that day comes, when they meet Satan, he's going to show them how much he really loves them.
Why do you initially think that people went to Satanism? Is it people that feel like people don't like them? Are they suicidal, or they hate their lives? Or like, why would any normal human being want to be a sadist? I'm just curious. What does their religion stand for? Obviously, they believe in Satan, which is all evil. So I'm just trying to get the background. Where would these people come from, do you think?
The best way for me to answer that question is, you know, I hate to keep trying to quote a few scriptures.
Oh, no,
you know,
it's
I know a few of them. I don't know.
I'd rather you do that, yes.
But here's the thing. You know, we wrestle not with flesh and bones. You know, it's spiritual warfare. You know, some of the evil things that we do here on this earth, it's not because we want to do them. It's because spirits. I mean, whether you believe it or not, you know, people are possessed with spirits. And you know,
I'm nodding my head, yeah.
Anytime you go against God and want to hate God, you know, you've got to be possessed by, you know, evil spirits. That's the best way I can answer it.
So, in your knowledge, you feel like these people that are satanic are possessed by something evil?
Yeah, I truly do. I truly do.
And going back to when you were saying, you know, people that believe in God, I don't think that's just Christians. I think that's like, you know, any religion that believes in one God. If it's, you know, a Jewish God, a Christian God, whatever.
Muslim God.
It's, you know, it's all the same God. If you believe in one God, the almighty power, I think, you know, I just wanted to get that clear. Because it's not just Christians. There's a lot of other religions that believe in one God.
That believe, right.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they all believe in Satan also.
Yeah, I mean, they do.
That is a great like observation. Do all religions believe in Satan?
I don't think all religions do, but I think most of them do.
Jewish actually don't really believe in a hell. The Jewish do not believe there is an actual hell. They believe that you are either in a place of heaven or something like that. But they don't. I don't think they believe in hell. So that probably tells you no. But see, these Satanists, man, it's just like I believe a lot of the Satanists is just like a rebellion thing. It's a rebellion against Christianity and the way America was raised and brought up on and taught and whatever else. And to Satanists, it's a way to rebel against, it's just like the damn liberals, man. I mean, I hate to say it so much, but the liberals, it's their way to rebel against not getting what the hell they wanted, which I don't even know what the hell they want exactly. Like, what is Trump not giving the liberals that Democrats do? Because honestly, in my opinion, we're a little off topic, but Democrats do nothing for people that are poor. So,
oh well, Chad.
It's just what I'm saying. I mean, or you can say they do too much for people that are poor. Right?
I agree with that.
Second choice is better.
It's like you spoil these people. You spoil these people, and you take away whatever you're giving them, and they're really not going to know how to act. You take food stamps and public housing away from some of these people, they will go ham. They will lose their mind.
Have you ever had to be on food stamps?
No, I've never had to have any kind of government assist. Not saying that I wouldn't. Now, if I had the opportunity to get on food stamps, yeah, I would do it. I'm saying,
yeah,
I wouldn't live my life that way.
Yeah.
I've worked my whole life. That's why I've never depended on public, government assistance.
But it's an easy way.
Just an easy way until I can, get back on my feet.
Yeah,
I do it.
I've actually been on food stamps back in the day.
I think if you need it.
Not me personally. Not me personally. My family at one point in time, just being real, was on food stamps at one point in time in my life. It was a short time, but we absolutely needed it.
Right.
And we were right off the food stamps as soon as we had money.
Exactly my point.
And bringing up food stamps, I'm kind of getting off the subject again, but we're talking about this at my workplace. Isn't it funny that you can get food stamps and have everything given to you, but you're not given drug tests? But at every workplace you go to, you're given a drug test.
And get more food stamps.
I'm just saying. It's like those pieheads, man, they're going to need some more food stamps.
Yeah.
It's like maybe if you get drug tested and you show up that you smoke weed, should the government give you more food stamps? Because you're going to have the munchies, man. You got to eat.
Really
yeah, Sherry, I know what your point is. Your point is simply that, yes, you should have drug tests to get food stamps, a free thing, but yet you have to have a drug test to go somewhere that you have to work for money.
Exactly.
So, you know what I'm saying?
It's like when you're on unemployment, you have to check weekly with the unemployment office, for a job, for employment.
Yeah.
You should do the same thing with that, huh?
So what is your final opinion on the statue?
I think it's trash, and I do not think that the Arkansas state government should allow it to happen.
I don't think they're going to.
It's satanic.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to, but
what is your facts to back that up?
My facts to back that up?
Facts to back what up?
That it should not be allowed. Like what facts? If you can have the 10 Commandments, or did you say they took the 10 Commandments down?
Well, they did.
Somebody destroyed the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody, as in Satan worshipers, maybe.
Yeah.
Come on. No, but it's not about facts, Sherry. It's about it shouldn't be there because this country was built on God. It was built on the Bible. It was built on old-fashioned American values. Now they're trying. Nowadays, if you frown upon people that are male and female, or if you frown on people that used to be male but now they're female, and then you accidentally call them male, then you're freaking sexist because they used to be male but now they're female.
Oh my God!
It's in 2018 we give heroism. Sorry, we give heroism awards, whatever the hell it is. The ESPY award or whatever the hell it was for being a hero to
Jenner.
To Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh my goodness!
Like you're seriously telling me you couldn't have found one soldier in the United States military to give that heroism award to?
That was. I didn't even watch the show. I didn't even watch the show. I'm like, are you serious? And there were people on camera. They had to pretend they were happy just because they were, in the front row on camera. I know it was eating them up inside, man.
But dude, that's the problem with this country is everything is so politically. It's not even.
Yeah.
It's not even everything is politically correct in this country anymore.
It's politically incorrect.
No, it's that if you are a conservative in this country, you are not allowed to speak what the hell you want to say. If you're a liberal or a Democrat, you're allowed to say whatever the hell you want to say and get away with it.
But 30 or 40 years ago, it was total opposite.
Yes, and that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
When we grew up,
Right.
that was not politically correct.
Yeah,
So now
exactly.
if we don't accept it, there's something wrong with us.
Exactly. Back in the day, you had to be conservative to be right. But now the tables are turning on that.
But, if you look at the values of both parties, I would much rather our country be freaking, you had to be right to, as a conservative than you had to be right as a liberal.
I would rather be independent.
Well, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying that, if you had to pick Democrat or Republican, you're basically saying that I don't believe in God in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases.
Come on now. That's a strong statement, Chad.
But it's true. It's true.
How is
there's
that?
There's so many liberals that are anti-Christ, anti-God, Satanist, or atheist. So many of the people that I know personally that are Democrat are also atheist.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not kidding. I've lost so many friends because of that. I mean,
You have.
it's and if I've lost so many friends because both these people were both, like, if I was going to post a Christian or not even a Christian, if I was going to post a status about God and Jesus on my Facebook or on my Twitter or whatever the case is, I'm going to get the same arguments from the same people as if I post a status about Trump. Or if I post a status about anybody that's Republican, I'm going to get the same exact people debating me on both religion and politics. So that should tell you. It's it's a strong statement, but a lot of Democrats are atheists. A lot of Democrats don't believe in God. And it shows with the way they act.
But
honestly,
it doesn't mean that if you support them that you're the same way.
Exactly. And I was just going to say, too, I just totally lost my thought process. But anyways, I was saying that it's not just it's not your Republican or Democrat right now. Most of it is hate Trump. I don't care who you are. You could be a Republican or a Democrat and hate Trump. Because I think that's like, I'm just saying there's a lot of followers and they see people saying, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. But he's done so many good things for us.
Well, he has. I mean, and that's definitely something. I'm going to really get into the Trump thing very soon because on this New York Times article that we're going to talk about coming up, I'm gonna kind of say what I believe. And actually, for those of you that are going to be joining us for our Thursday show, that is what we're calling the True Patriot Show Podcast State of the Union. It's going to be interesting. That's the only topic, but we're going to talk about how America is, where they've came from, where we're at now, and where we're going to go from here.
What is the next real State of the Union?
I'm not sure. I mean, it depends. I guess there could. It's got to be around midterms.
Yeah.
I would think, but not 100% on that. But yeah. So the Arkansas statue, I 100% think that they should burn it to the freaking ground.
I agree 100%.
And those of them that are protesting, maybe they should shove it up their ass. We should shove the actual statue up their ass, and then see how much they'll probably be like, "Oh God, oh no, you don't believe in God. You don't get to say that."
I just wonder what percent of Americans are Satanists.
Well, there's actually a lot more than you think. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell you a little quick story that I know everybody says on podcasts you got to tell stories because people like hearing that, and I'm going to tell you a quick story, and then we're moving on to our next topic. You just asked how many people are Satanists. Well, there was a time, probably about 10 years ago. And I'm going to place the setting. It was the fall, This was in North Carolina, in actually Western North Carolina. And some of you can look this up as I'm talking if you want. But it was in Pisgah National Forest. And, I'm saying this live on the air, and I'm sure there's other people that have experienced this or come across this in a national forest somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. But so we had a guys camping trip, and we were going out to Pisgah National Forest. And it was somewhere in the Pink Beds area of Pisgah National Forest. And Pink Beds area, I don't believe it was in Pink Beds. We took Pink Beds to another trail. It was probably 6 miles in from where we parked the car. And when I believe we didn't even get in until it was fall, so I think it got dark about 7:30, and so we left our car, I believe, like 5:00, and it was probably 7-8 miles to where we got to where we were at least going to look for a campsite. And Pink Beds is up in the mountains, but it is a pretty flat trail area, and so we walked, and it was about 7:30. It was getting dark at the time when we almost, when we were about to where we were trying to find somewhere to camp. But as we got to our campsite, I remember there was barely enough light to kind of just set up our stuff and whatever. And like I said, we were probably at this time, 8 miles back. But we got our tent set up, got all that stuff set up. By this time, that took us probably 30, 35 minutes, and it got dark. Well, we all hung out by the campfire and stuff, and it was probably, I guess, 8:30 or 9 o'clock. We started hearing, like, it almost sounded like a group of people, like 15 or 20 people, were all saying something together. Like it was almost like if a football team right before they're about to go on the field is all like, all right, on 1, 2, 3, whatever. They all say it together or all say some kind of chant together.
Like chanting or.
Well, it's just they say they were saying something together. Anyways, it was like a chorus saying a speech or something. And so we decided, and we were just on the other side of a small hill until you get into a kind of a valley on the river. And so we decided we were going to go check it out. We actually kind of thought it was a party, but it was weird. And so we left our campsite, went across this little bridge. The whole night was weird because it was a full moon. It was you had to cross like a little creek and a little bridge to get to where we were, or to get to the other side of this little hill. And as we were crossing the bridge, there was a copperhead snake on the bridge.
Whoa!
At night, and it actually struck at us, and it was striking, and it was weird because it was late at night. And I mean, just to come across a snake that far back, it scared the shit out of us. But anyways, to the story, we crossed a little hill, and we see this massive bonfire. I mean, it was huge on the river, and it was a pretty open area.
Did you see like people in robes, or what did you see when you got there?
I've already told you this story, I'm pretty sure, and that's why you're saying that. But anyways, so we crossed the hill, and we see a massive bonfire, as I said, and it's next to the river, and there was a bunch of people standing around, and they were in robes. Sherry, thank you for ruining the story before I got to it.
I forgot the story. I was wanting to know.
But anyways, so there was people standing around a fire, and they were in robes, like these black robes, and this sounds like a horror movie, but it was 100% truth. And they were sitting there chanting craziness.
Can you give us an
Well, I mean, they weren't
example
chanting. They
of,
were all
what
saying
were
something.
doing?
I don't
What did
remember
they
what
do?
it was.
Can you imitate what they were doing?
No, I can't imitate what they were doing. I mean, unless me and Mr. Tut
All right, well,
could
try it. I just want to hear.
No, I mean, I honestly, it wasn't really. I think honestly, when we heard it, we thought it was like Hebrew or something, like tongues or some, craziness like that.
Yeah.
So we couldn't, because I remember leaving there, we had no idea what they were saying.
Yeah.
But we did know some crazy shit was going on.
Right.
And, this was 8 miles back in the woods, scary as hell, because, we were literally, yes, we were over the hill, which is not a very big hill, but we were less than a quarter mile away from these people.
Did any of them ever see you?
No, nobody ever saw us. We never saw them the rest of the time. Actually the next day we were going on a loop, so we actually had to pass where they were all camping the night before, and nobody was there. There was no tents, no nothing. It was a massive fire, and I still remember this day. There was a massive fire. There was one of the robes in the fire, but it wasn't burnt, which is weird. that was what we were all freaked out about. We're like, oh my God, there's a robe in the fire and it's not burnt.
Really?
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I'm guessing they maybe used the robe to put the fire. I don't know, but it was strange.
That was witchcraft, man. It was an occult.
Yeah,
It-
yeah, I would agree with that. It was something insanely crazy, is all I know.
Yeah.
And
They go back in the back. You see it on TV all the time, but you don't really think that, it happens in real life. But that's the way these people operate.
It is, but it goes back to this Satanist thing. So Sherry asked, how many Satanists? Well, damn. I mean, I went in the woods one day and saw 15 of them.
Right.
In the middle of the woods.
Right.
And I think that was the really scary thing, was just knowing that, oh my God, what the hell? Like this, we were back in the woods, and we were actually thinking it, and I were like, what if they want to come and sacrifice our ass in the middle of the night?
Yeah, exactly. That's how they operate. That's how they get down, man. I saw this on TV one time. Used to watch an old sitcom back in the 90s called Martin Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
He was,
I watched him.
He was trying to find himself. He was having trouble at home, and he went off and joined an occult. And they had these robes. They were acting just like you were.
I don't think I've seen that show.
Oh man, it was hilarious, man. But
or maybe I did see that.
you probably did. I mean, it was years ago. But the things that you described, what you saw in the woods,
That's weird.
was exactly how they had it on TV. So it was real, whatever you saw.
That's
To see
interesting.
it on TV and then for you to see it in real life, that was real, bro.
Yeah, and I don't know. And honestly, I think, if I remember correctly, I think I looked that up after we got back to see, like, why do Satanists get in robes? And I actually think it has something to do with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Yeah.
he's technically known as being in, as a
Yeah.
robe with a dark face.
Yeah.
And the weird thing was, we never saw any of their faces.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they were ghosts, because I don't think they were ghosts, but it was weird because it was just like, they were big hoods. So what I'm saying is
Right.
their face was far enough back in the hood you couldn't see even with the fire glare. And I mean,
Right.
we were probably 700-800 feet from them, but
Ah.
or 600 feet. I don't know, something like that.
So did you guys spend the night in the
Yeah,
woods?
yeah, we stayed right there.
But the copperhead that you guys saw.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was a warning.
Yeah, it was. It was.
That was a warning right there, man.
I believe it was a warning too. Well, I don't know what it was, but it was something weird.
Yeah.
And we didn't really think it. I mean, obviously it was crazy to see. It was crazy to see a copperhead, in the middle of the woods. That I actually, come to think of this, I think I remember the exact time that we saw these people.
Really?
And I think it was like 10:30 at night. So I think I'm a little off on the time, because I remember looking at my watch or phone or whatever, and I was like, 10:30 at night. You got to be shitting me. But yeah, it was 10:30 at night, and that was when we saw the copperhead and we saw the whole thing.
Really?
So
Well, that copperhead may have been trying to protect them, because they say
exactly, yeah.
Satan is a serpent.
But that was the weird thing about it was, it was like, man, this damn snake was mean.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've gotten actually bitten by a copperhead before.
Yeah.
Back at my mom's place up in the mountains, and actually my nephew has, and my brother's dog, and everything else.
Wow.
But yeah, it was. I mean, this was a legit thing.
Wow.
But anyway, so I wanted to touch on the whole satanic thing and where the world's come and how many people we actually have in this country that are satanic, because there's a lot.
And I think it's growing, buddy.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, but like I said, man, we got the right man in there to combat that. I mean, I hate to say it, but Bernie Sanders or Clinton, man, they would welcome Satanism.
Oh my goodness.
They would create Satanist churches across the country.
Wow.
I'm telling you, they would. They would allow this
Wow,
shit. They would
dude.
fight for the Satanists over the Arkansas government.
What?
Yeah, they would.
You think
100%.
you think Clinton would have did that?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Hell
my
yeah. She probably would email about it.
Oh my goodness!
She would send some emails
Wow.
on her private server.
Wherever that may be.
Exactly. So the next thing I want to talk about, though, is this Todd Kohlhepp thing. And we'll touch on this briefly, but Todd Kohlhepp is a serial killer from Spartanburg, South Carolina. And Todd Kohlhepp had a woman by the name of Kayla Brown basically roped up in a storage container for 3 months, I believe it was.
Wow.
She went missing. I don't remember when it was. I mean, I think they found her. I know when they found her, it was summer. So, I mean, it was like 90 degrees to 100 degrees outside. And so, long story short, she got raped during the entire time. Her boyfriend that she went to the property with got killed and murdered.
Whoa.
She had knew him because he was a pretty prominent real estate agent in Spartanburg, the Spartanburg area. And so he had been, I think that's what it was. She was helping clean some of his rental, or I don't know if it was rental properties he had, whatever the case was. But she was cleaning all this stuff. And then one day he was like, hey, you want to come over out to my property? He had like 30 acres. I don't remember how many acres it was, but somewhere in Spartanburg. Do you and your boyfriend want to come out to my property and help me clear some of the land, and I'll pay you some money? She needs money and so on. So she did it. And so they got out to the property, and the first night they were there, towards the end of the night, whatever, or I don't even know if it was the end of the night. I don't think it was very far into the night. He goes back in his property and comes back out with a gun and shoots her boyfriend right in the head.
Oh my goodness.
Right beside her.
Wow.
Well, come to find out, also on this property, he had killed another couple, which was buried behind, the shed or whatever. He had a shed, but it had like a bed upstairs, and it was kind of like a living quarters. And then downstairs was like more like a garage. But so yeah, he killed her boyfriend and then held her in a storage. It wasn't a storage container. It was like what you find on cruise ship, or not cruise ships, but the container ships. The ships that go overseas that have the big. You know what I'm saying? The shipping containers.
Right.
And
Cargo or whatever.
Yeah. And so he had her in there. He had like a bolt screwed through the end of it, and he had her chained to it. And he had her chained through a neck, like a metal neck handcuff or neck cuff, I guess you call it.
Wow.
So that's where he held her for 3 or 4 months. He raped her repeatedly every day. And, when the police finally did find her, and keep it in mind, her boyfriend's cell phone, I guess Todd, the serial killer, had taken his cell phone and was during certain times during this missing process or missing period, he was writing people back. He was writing people back that
pretending to be her boyfriend.
Yeah, pretending to be her boyfriend and, telling her boyfriend's family, I'm okay. Me and Kayla decided to go get married, this and that. We're taking, we're just getting away. So that was his way to kind of keep authorities at bay, I guess he thought. But,
Right.
But anyways, so Todd Kohlhepp is in prison now, and he is in prison for life as of right now. There have been other reports that he actually was responsible for 4 more murders that happened at a sports bike store. I think it was in Chesney.
That was years ago, though.
Yeah, it was it was early 2000s at least. 2003 maybe, if I'm not mistaken. But he admitted, he came out and confessed that, he did kill all 4 I think it was 4 people in that place. That was so many years ago. And there's no telling how many more people he killed.
Wow.
We don't know yet. That's just it. We know he killed the Coxies, I think their name was. It was another couple. He killed both of them. And I think the reason that he killed them was because of, I think it was she wouldn't go along with what he wanted after he killed her boyfriend, which I think he was going to do it the same way he did Kayla Brown, which was the one they recently saved. But I think she wouldn't go along with shit. I think she was completely against anything he said or did after after he killed her boyfriend. And I think he knew that he was never going to have her. He was never going to be able to control her like he wanted to. So that's when he killed her. But by him killing her, it allowed him to escape capture. No one had any clue it was him. And so, this Kayla Brown girl, she had to do whatever the hell. She knew to survive, she had to do whatever she had to do. Mm-hmm. And that included being raped. Did she say things like, yes, I like it when he asked, do you like this or whatever? Yeah, she probably did. Because she knew that if he started, he already had told her, I believe, in one report that, if you screw with me, if you go against me, you're going to end up like the other couple.
Wow.
And I think he even showed her where he showed her the grave. But here's the thing, man. This is where it gets weird. Obviously, she sued for money in his estate, which I would have done the same damn thing. I think if you're going to make a case for pain and suffering, that's damn sure a case, And she won. I think she was just recently allowed $6 million. She won the case for.
He was a millionaire?
Well, I don't know. I mean, assets and everything. They're auctioning off all of his property. And she's going to receive the money.
Wow.
So here's what I want to talk about as far as that goes. She has been, unfortunately, the victim of cyberbullying.
By whom?
Well, it's kind of crazy because, there's social media nowadays is a crazy thing. It can be good or it can be bad. In so many cases nowadays, it's bad. But as soon as this Todd Kolop thing started and the serial killer murder and all this shit, all these groups started popping up on Facebook about Todd Kolop and the murder case and all these other cases. And in the beginning, it seemed like there was, I think, 2 or 3, 4 groups, and Sherry knows more about this, but there were 2 or 3 or 4 groups that kind of started popping up, and they were, Facebook experts, quote unquote. To this case. And most of it was women. Most of these people in these groups were women. And initially, it seemed like some of them were on the side of Kayla Brown, which is the victim. Why wouldn't you be?
Well, there was one group for her.
Well, there was one group for her, other groups against her. And I'll have Sherry talk on this in a minute. But anyways, But something happened in this process that all these women started turning on her. Not all of them, but a lot of them. These women in these groups are saying Kayla was in on it. That she was in on this whole thing to have her boyfriend killed. And she liked being raped in that storage container. She liked it. She liked, watching her boyfriend die, I guess. I don't know necessarily 100% that's... that's what anyone said. I do know, though, that many have said stuff like, she liked being raped. She liked it. She went along with it because this was her whole plan to begin with. But, like, as a victim of somebody that, man, it's like that you literally were raped by every day. Like, what in the hell, man? Imagine coming out of this shit and then eventually you stumble across some Facebook groups of women that bash you because they're saying you're for it.
Wow.
And this woman literally was like, her living quarters was in a shipping container. No heating and air. This is South Carolina. When was that, Chad? Like August, September?
I believe it was, probably. It was, it was August. It was 3 months, but it was in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, and during this summer, I mean, it was very hot. It was in the hundreds. So could you imagine when Todd's not there, just saying, which is most of the time, he came in, fed her McDonald's at lunch.
And Todd's a serial killer.
Yeah, Todd Kolop. Yeah. Sorry, my throat's messed up, but Todd Kolop was a serial killer. But he basically came and fed her at McDonald's. He took her off, the chains, but kept the chain around her neck. She was allowed to walk around and going into the shed quarters or whatever. But most of the time, this woman was chained up in a storage container with no heating and air. It's 100 degrees, and she wanted that. Like, there is no wanting that. I don't care if she, all these conspiracy theories about what she wanted and what she didn't want. If she was SMN, some people said that she had a,
BDSM.
Yeah,
it was
whatever
BDSM.
that stuff was. Yeah, well, I don't even know what that stuff's called. But they thought she had another sexual lifestyle, whatever. Even if you had another sexual lifestyle, would you want to be pinned up in a container with a chain around your neck 24/7, basically, and you had to poop in a pail and got to bathe once a week? She wanted that?
Well, I mean, my whole point to this is how far is these groups going, man, and going against her and saying you're not a victim, you're a conspirator.
Well, people are gonna have their opinions on everything. So you can't take that stuff personal. I mean,
but she obviously would, right?
Oh,
yeah.
this girl has been so traumatized that she has to have aliases to get on Facebook. She can't even go in public anymore, and she's a victim.
Wow.
And she was on the Dr. Phil show. They did the one-on-one interview with her for like 2 days straight. It was actually a two-part segment. Do you still have the screenshot? Can you get?
Yeah.
I want to read that screenshot just to give you guys a context of what people are saying in these groups.
But you can tell about,
it's
why she was on Dr. Phil or whatever.
But I mean, it's one of the things that there's so many good things social media does, but there's also so many horrible things it can do.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like you guys, Facebook, YouTube, all these people are going to censor Alex Jones for having opinions based on globalists, UFOs, whatever the hell he says. But you're not going to censor groups that is victim shaming. You're basically, you're calling out someone that went through hell, and that's okay.
Let me ask you a little bit about this guy Todd Colip. This guy wasn't your average everyday criminal. He didn't go around robbing or stealing. He was a professional white collar worker, right?
Oh,
correct?
yeah, he was. From what everybody thought, yeah.
Wow, amazing. And
he, I had met him at the airport before a few times. Sherry was in real estate at one point in time, and she had went to dinner with him back before Sherry and I knew each other, but she went to dinner with him and got a lot of creepy vibes then. And, he was saying, hey, come on board with me. I'll teach you all the best ways to sell. He was a hell of a real estate agent.
Wow.
But a lot of times,
you don't need to mess with me because.
But a lot of times, the greatest salesmen are, the people that turn out to be serial killers. A lot of times, if you ask people, like, what was their personality like? They're going to say, man, they were like the most cool, personable person you could ever talk to.
Yeah.
They'd sell you ice, they'd sell ice to an Eskimo. The whole saying with that. But do you think it's right? I understand conspiracy theory, but you have groups of women that have nothing better to do with their day and their lives than to get on Facebook and talk shit about a victim that if any of them women would have been in that freaking circumstance, maybe some of them would have fought him. But those women that fought him would have died probably.
Now, do you really think that she stayed in a storage closet in 100-degree weather and it was probably 20 degrees hotter inside the storage?
Yeah, I do because when the police finally figured out their way to the property, which if I remember correctly, I can't remember exactly. I wish I could look it up, but if I remember correctly, it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon when they found her. And
What took so long? I mean, after
I think they somehow tracked cell phone records and triangulated things and so on and so forth. But when they finally found her, it was like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and guess where she was?
in the storage.
Oh yeah, she was there.
Wow.
And that day they found her, it was like 95 degrees outside.
So it was probably 105 on the inside.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, and there's been a bunch of stuff about like how hot it was inside the container. So, and even the women that say, well, do you really think she was in that storage container that, every day? Well, she was when they found her.
Right.
So it's like,
Right, yeah,
if she just happened to not be, is this
This is just one of them where, like, they have a conspiracy theory that she had Charlie murdered. Charlie Carver.
So I'll read this. So and I'm not gonna say the name.
Not the bad.
I'm not gonna say the name of the person that wrote this, but it says, I've just now started following this story. Thank you to everyone who has been giving me info or told me where to look for info. I'm learning a lot about KB, which is Kayla Brown. That's the victim. I had no idea about all the things she's done. Seems like Charlie was a truly innocent man who didn't deserve what happened to him. If any family members are in the group, please know that I am truly sorry for your loss. Any info that anyone would like to share about KB will be welcomed. Obviously, I would like to know more. Thanks to everyone. Well, that's not really what anything. What happened to the screenshots?
I don't know. I'm looking for them.
But anyways, so these screenshots, they basically just say, that, oh my God, Kayla Brown is not the victim. She's the whatever. She was in on it. She had her boyfriend murdered, and she's now gonna have all this money because of suing. But what the hell is gonna be the first of all, why in the hell is Todd Kolop, the serial killer, gonna agree to that?
Going to agree to what?
Why is he gonna agree to go in with her and have? It's just bullshit. I mean, there's no way that there's a conspiracy between the serial killer and Kayla Brown, the victim.
I mean, what is he going to agree upon?
Well, killing her. Why would he say, "Oh yeah, I want to go to jail for the rest of my life, and I want to give you the money"?
But he said that, didn't he say he wasn't going to admit to anything until he gets a plea bargain?
Yeah, but he wasn't talking about that case because he's already. Trust me. If he was worried about the death, he's worried about the death penalty now because So if he would say anything to make sure that if she was involved in any reason whatsoever, she would definitely say,
I would rather have the death penalty than to stay in jail for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's miserable.
Well, exactly, but the point is like there's just no foundation for a conspiracy in that.
Right. You're right. I mean,
if when they rolled up on the property and they found her lounging, they found her lounging in a house with air conditioning and chilling.
That's different.
Yeah,
that's
different. Not it's kind of like Natalie Holloway or not Natalie Holloway. What was that girl's name? The little girl that was in the house forever. I can't remember what her name was, but anyways, the little white girl that was months captured, and she was only like a few miles from her home.
Wow.
She wasn't chained up or anything. I don't think they were just like, don't go anywhere.
Wow.
And left, and she stayed there.
They kidnapped her.
Yeah, they kidnapped this girl.
Wow, dude.
Elizabeth Smart. That's her name.
Okay, I remember. That name sounds familiar. I remember
Elizabeth Smart. Yeah, she But as a kid and someone's telling you, hey, you go anywhere, I'm gonna kill you. I don't know, man. Me as a kid though, my ass would have been out. As soon as he left, I was like, peace out.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. But not while he's there. I wouldn't have tried to escape.
Yeah, but the Todd Kolop thing is a weird thing. For those of you listening, read up on it. Go to Todd Kolop. Just type in his name. You'll find the story. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard about it. No matter where you're at. I mean, he was, this whole story was on Dr. Phil and so many other things. And, if you do get a chance, go on in these Facebook groups. You got to be approved to get in them. But yeah, just try to join them and just read through this shit, man. It's pretty crazy. And I'm not saying all the women in there are, like that. But for the ones that are, man, shame on you. Seriously. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, get a life, get a job, quit depending on your husband to support you, and just go do something other than get on Facebook groups. And that's my message to you. So let's move on. Florida shooting, man. What the hell happened there? He got mad because he lost at a Madden tournament.
Wow. Before we start talking about that, if you haven't heard, I think it was last week, we lost the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
And, everybody knows who Aretha Franklin was. She was the Queen of Soul, and she did so much for so many people. She was a good family woman, and she will be dearly missed.
Sure.
If you would, please give her a moment of silence for at least 5 seconds, and God rest her soul.
And we'll say the same for Molly Tibbetts.
Exactly.
And any other person out there, actually, that has lost their life, regardless.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know Nick, one of my friends, Nick, he definitely thinks that he's always liked Aretha Franklin, all of them. I know you do.
Oh God, man, Aretha Franklin, the Temptations, Four Tops, Smokey Robinson. All those groups, Marvin Gaye,
Oh man,
music, not only R&B music, but music period wouldn't be the same without that Motown 60s Motown
you're right.
sound.
Because he actually, this is a whole nother subject, but back blues, R&B, blues, back in the day is actually how beach music started.
Really?
Yeah, the Carolina beach music of today, man, is blues and soul and. It started on the backbone of blues.
Wow.
And then the Temptations. There are songs that the Temptations did that are considered beach music, and
wow,
there are songs Casey and the Sunshine Band, even though they're really beach music, but that all kind of ties hand in hand. But anyway,
and before we go on, the Beatles, they were big Motown fans, and they said they patterned their music or sampled some Motown music.
Yeah.
So when you heard some of the Beatles songs, you heard a little bit of Motown in there.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. They did. Motown, yeah. Honestly, I loved Motown. Dude.
Yeah.
Motown music was amazing. What happened to R&B, man? What the hell?
Man, not only R&B, but
most of them
genre,
country fans will say that country's not the same.
Everything is watered down now. It's just watered
commercial
down. Yeah, it really truly is. Hip hop, no matter what it is.
That's true. All right, so the Florida shooting. What's the
man.
deal with that?
Well, as far as what I've researched, 24-year-old David Katz was in Jacksonville, Florida, playing at a tournament at a game room, and he won Madden 17, but this year he lost, and he just couldn't handle it. He flipped. He killed 2 people, including himself, and injured 9 more. And that's basically it.
So Nick, him going into this Madden video game or whatever, obviously he had a gun with him. So,
right.
Do you think this was planned, or
Yes.
do you think
Yes.
that this just happened because he got mad?
I think it was planned because I read the article. He said that he bought the gun several weeks back before the tournament.
So what was his plan? That if I lose, I'm killing a bunch of people?
Probably so. And it could have been one of those.
So he did buy the gun, though.
He bought the gun.
Okay.
And I also read that he had a psychological evaluation. So he was kind of crazy, from the start.
So wait, what are you saying? Okay, anybody can have a psychological evaluation, but did he pass or fail it?
It didn't say if he passed or failed, but he had one. And it's not because he purchased the gun. Matter of fact, the gun that he purchased was traced back to a murder.
So he didn't buy it from Academy.
No.
Or some shit like that.
No.
He bought it from somebody.
Right, he bought it from somebody.
So he didn't have to go through a background check.
No.
Okay.
No. And if you look at the guy's picture, you can tell something's not right with him. And I was watching a video news clip, and they showed the two teams that were playing. I won't name the teams. The two teams that were playing, and all of a sudden you heard gunshots, and you heard people screaming, and then the screen went off. And then that's all they showed on the news clip. But
so do you know if he killed who he lost to?
No. He didn't kill who he lost to. Not.
I was just curious.
No,
about that.
not to my knowledge. I saw the two people he killed, and he shot 9 other more people, and 3 died. You know, that's including himself.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, the weird thing about it is like he had a gun. Or he bought. I mean, I just wonder if he bought the gun knowing that he was going this tournament. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But he bought it from somebody.
He bought it from somebody.
And see that is still an issue. I will say I'm 100% pro-gun, Second Amendment. I believe in our Second Amendment 100%, and we should never change it. Mostly.
Well, I'm not saying get rid of our guns, you know, because criminals will always have guns, and we've got to protect. Somebody breaking into your house, you got to be able to protect yourself. I believe that 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
But we have to do something about stricter gun laws. You know, I don't know, raise the age limit on it. Do whatever you have to do to. I mean, it's too easy to go get a gun and kill somebody.
But here's the problem, though. That guy didn't buy it from a store. He bought it from someone.
Right.
And I believe that, you know, that is a problem. And I don't think you're ever going to get rid of that problem because,
right.
You know, I mean, I guess you could make it completely illegal for private sellers to buy guns from each other. But then the Second Amendment supporters like myself is going to go back to the point of a lot of people don't like to buy guns and put their name on guns and put their registration on guns from stores because if the government ever did turn on the people or the government, say when we do have a democratic government, and then one day they said, hey, guess what, guys? We're taking all your weapons. I don't give a shit what you think. Guess where they're going to know where to go is everybody that has ever registered a gun in any of these retail stores. That's where they're going. They're coming to your house. If it gets to that, they know you have a gun because they see it registered. And that's why there's so many people, and it's not crazy people. I mean, there are crazy people to do it too, but there are patriots, American patriots that love their country, but they also don't trust the government 100% either. And so they do go buy from private sellers so that their name is not registered in the system.
Exactly.
So that if somebody does come for your guns, then, you know, you're not just going to be the blip on the radar that shows up all over the freaking United States of who owns guns.
Right. Exactly.
But also, in the same situation, it allowed this dude to get a gun without going through any kind of background or evaluation, probably. You know, if he would have only been able to purchase a gun from a store, would it have prevented it? Probably not, because he would have stole a gun from somewhere and done it.
Yeah.
But then it goes a little deeper is, you know, he bought this gun. Now, whether he had the intentions of going in this place and killing someone, I don't know. You know,
if he bought the gun 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was an intent.
Well, the weird thing is, what would he have done if he would have won?
Probably not killed anybody. And then again, he did have a psychological evaluation, you know, a couple of weeks before then. Maybe he was going to kill at will regardless. You don't know.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's hard to say you can prevent it regardless because, I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is if he would have not been able to buy from a private seller and had to go through some kind of background or which I'm sure his background was probably clear.
Probably.
And you don't get psychological evaluations to buy a gun. So, you know, I mean, but also, like, how are these retail stores going to be able to facilitate you know, how would Academy Sports be able to facilitate a psychological evaluation? I mean, that costs money.
Yeah, but let me just tell you right now, at least, you know, we do have things in force. You have to give your driver's license. You have to fill out a form to whatever the form is to get approved, blah, 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 blah. You have to go through the motions.
Right.
If gun laws said that you can't have a gun, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the black market. You're going
Right.
to go where you don't have to fill out forms. You're going to have a gun regardless if it's the law or not the law.
Well, see, if there was martial law in the country, let's just say if you do get it on the black market, they can just come to your house and break your door down and come search your house, whether it's the black market or not. They're going to do whatever they have to do to find the gun.
Well, regardless, most people that buy guns legally, like the right way, going to Academy, going to a gun store, going to Dick's Sporting Goods, whatever. People that are going to buy guns legally are not going to freaking, I mean, most of the people are not going to go buy a gun legally to go kill someone. I mean, there's probably a small percentage, but what I'm saying is most of the people that buy guns legally do not go and buy guns to kill people.
Well, they probably have other guns that are not marked.
But yeah, but I'm
You
saying
know.
if they go in a retail store, it's going to be. Well, yeah,
Right,
I'm
right,
sure
right.
they
I see
do.
what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they do. But what I'm saying is if I'm going to go buy a gun, no, sorry, let me back up. If I'm going to go commit a mass murder or any murder for that matter, I'm not going to go to freaking Dick's Sporting Goods and go to the gun section, purchase a gun, fill out a background check, put my name on it.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Right,
I'm
that-
going to steal a gun or I'm going
Right.
to freaking buy it from somebody that,
Right.
don't have my name tied to it.
Right.
So,
But really, it wouldn't matter if you're, going to be like producing mass murders. You're going to end up probably dead, or you're going to get a death penalty, or be in life in prison. So it really doesn't matter.
Now, do they have handguns at those sporting stores, or just
oh
rifles?
yeah. They definitely do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Academy and all those places, man. They got handguns, assault rifles.
Assault rifles.
Yeah, but don't say it like that. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
They call it assault rifles, but the funny thing is, I mean, it's a damn.
AK-47. They have AK-47.
Well, a lot of places don't have AKs, but AR. I mean, I don't know. I guess some places do, but AR-15s and you name it. I mean, they'll have them. I mean, as long as it's. I mean, you got to understand, man. An AR-15, even though it's a higher capacity mag in a lot of cases, and maybe larger magazine, which places are starting to ban those. I mean, it's the same. It's still a semi-automatic weapon.
what about 12 gauges?
Yeah, that's a semi-automatic too.
I mean, do they sell those?
oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
12 gauges, 10 gauges, you name it, they sell them.
Wow.
But they don't sell automatic weapons.
Right.
But look, at the end of the damn day, it doesn't matter. Honestly, if I'm going into combat with anybody, if there was a civil war in this country and I had to get guns, I don't want an automatic weapon. I mean,
You don't want to. I mean, you want to.
I don't want a full auto weapon anyway. I mean, I don't have to have a fully automatic weapon to protect myself.
Oh.
Nor would any killer that's wanting to commit crime of mass murder have to have an automatic weapon anyway. Because anybody that knows about weaponry, anybody that knows about shooting knows that a fully automatic weapon is less accurate. Because I mean, if you're sitting there holding the trigger, your recoil, man, is just going everywhere. So I mean that. Some people may find that useful in mass shootings, but in reality, precise shots one by one on an AR-15 is probably more accurate and better than a fully automatic weapon.
Well, okay. What if you have a 45, a handgun,
Less accurate.
going up against AK-47?
I
I seen a video of that. Cop got shot.
Well, you're going to have about the same. If you have the same capacity magazine, you're going to have about the same chance. The only difference in an AK-47 and a 45 is one, the magazine size in some cases. But number two is just your stability. You're able to hold an AK-47 and fire a more stable shot than someone with a 45. Because when you shoot a 45, you have a lot more recoil per shot. Because it's a large handgun. It's a high caliber handgun. And even in a rifle form, a 45 kicks pretty good, a 45 round. Mm-hmm. So a handgun is it's a lot less accurate, and a 45. That's why, like, if I was ever in a handgun fight and I had to protect my life, I would much rather, in my personal opinion, if I'm weaving through a warehouse, and I would rather have a 9mm, which is one of the lower capacity or lower. Powerful weapons, I guess you can say. I would much rather have a 9mm than a 45 because I know that my shots, every shot, I can shoot faster and quicker and more rounds more accurately than somebody with a 45. I mean, now if that 45 hits me though,
Oh yeah, it's gonna hurt.
yeah, I mean, well, it ain't gonna hurt because you probably ain't gonna feel it.
Why?
But because it's gonna blow a hole in you.
Oh,
man, 45s,
goodness.
man. 45s ain't no joke, but at the same time, you can get ammo, Hydra shock rounds, and all the other stuff for 9mm that, it on impact it explodes.
What are the police guns? Are those the 45s or 44s?
No, those are usually 40s.
Really?
Yeah, they're Glock 40s usually. Some law enforcement uses 9mm, and there are the occasional ones that use the 45s, but not very many. Because if you're a law enforcement officer, you pull up and you got somebody that pulls a gun and you're in a gun battle, man, I 40s are good. They still have a little more recoil than 9s, but there's a lot of law enforcement officers and law enforcement agencies that say that a 9mm has as much stopping power as a 40.
Wow, man.
Not 45. I mean, if you're an accurate shot and you can hit somebody the first time with a 45, you probably don't have to worry too much about a second or third shot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they're done probably. Mm-hmm. But just know that if you're shooting with a 45, then your second shot's not going to be as accurate.
Right.
Trust me, you better hit me with that first shot because if I got a 9mm, my second shot's going to be very close to accurate as my first one. And so that's the differences.
Wow,
45s and 9s are completely different. So a 45 handgun against an AK. Or against something like that, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm going to use an AK over a 45 handgun because it's going to be more accurate. I have more stability. I have it in my shoulder. But just strictly on the gun itself, it's not because of it's not because of the caliber of the bullet or any of that. It's strictly because of you have more stability holding a rifle than you do a handgun, and especially that much power coming out of a 45 handgun. Even with a 45 caliber rifle, you're going to have a lot of kickback. Mm-hmm. But it'll still be more stable. Your second shot with a rifle is going to be more accurate than your second shot with a 45 handgun. So that's what I'm saying. It's
the ones the triggers that you pull back, those old fashioned ones, that have the rotating, what I'm talking
Revolvers.
Oh yeah. Any of the revolvers. Yeah. I mean, the revolvers they got a lot of recoil, especially the higher caliber stuff.
They still make them?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they still make them. Yeah, yeah, they definitely still make the good old revolvers. But yeah, I mean, a revolver in a lot of cases, man, you can get some crazy powerful revolvers, even more so than a 45. I mean, if you want to talk about handguns and powerfulness, talk about the 50 cal Desert Eagle. That's a 50 caliber instead of 45. And, they have 50 caliber rifles in the Marine Corps and in the Army and in the Special Forces that are the best, the most amazing sniper rifles in the world. Wow. But even those rifles, they sit up on a tripod at the front of the barrel.
Yeah.
On the front of the barrel has a tripod. And those soldiers they lay down on their stomach behind it and they put their shoulder in it and they shoot because that damn thing, you're talking about a kick. It's going to hit you in the shoulder. So you take that. It's the same thing. That's a good example. A 50 caliber rifle versus a 50 caliber Desert Eagle handgun. Like you don't want to be in a fight with a 50 cal Desert Eagle because you just don't want to do that. So yeah. So who knows? I mean, this dude goes in, shoots it up. What's the problem? It's mental problems. It's the media. I think a large part. I mean, it's like nowadays if you go shoot up some people. You're a freaking hero in the media's eyes, it seems like, because they blast your face all over the damn television. I mean, is that not correct?
Yeah, they do. I mean, they become the most famous people in the world.
Yeah, and people talk about like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff today, like it's like he was freaking a hero or something.
Yeah.
So, what happened to this guy that shot up everybody? Did he get murdered or
he turned the gun on himself and blew himself away? He killed himself.
End.
Yes.
So, I mean, to me, that feels like that would be a planned thing.
Yeah. it's somewhat of a conspiracy
Yeah,
because
it goes back to it.
it's like ever since, Trump came in office, not downing Trump or anything, and he started talking about all these gun control and doing this and doing that, there's been nothing but turmoil and a lot of school shootings. It kind of makes you wonder if they are conspiracies.
No, I'm definitely going to have to disagree on that one. Because if you really look at how many school shootings there's been in Trump's era so far and versus school shootings in Obama's era or Bush's era or Clinton's era.
I think there's been more.
No, there's
now,
definitely
bro.
not. Definitely not.
Not
even close,
Oh.
no. And look at the terrorist attacks.
There's been over 200 over the last 2 years. I'm talking about school shootings.
That's BS.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. But look at mass school shootings versus there's a big difference. Look at how many terrorist attacks that have made the news since Trump's been in. Not very many. Well, besides maybe Las Vegas, I guess. But he wasn't, in my opinion, he was a terrorist, even though he was from the United States. They classify these people, well, if you're from the United States and just go crazy and kill a bunch of people, you're not a terrorist. You have to be Islamic. No, I believe you can be a terrorist being an American.
Oh, yeah.
So I do classify him as a terrorist, but I'm talking about Islamic ISIS terrorists. Since Trump has been in office, there hasn't been an incident. And there's been very little school shootings. I know Parkland was one, and there's been a couple smaller ones. But in terms of like Sandy Hook and Columbine who was President Columbine?
Yeah, that was Clinton's.
Clinton.
That was
Yeah.
a long time ago. That's what
Columbine. You look at Virginia Tech. That was that was a college shooting with that Japanese dude or Korean guy.
Yeah.
But honestly, and I'm not saying it can't happen because, dude, trust me, we could wake up next week and there could be another freaking World Trade Center.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's scary. But what I will say is on this matter is, and this is the last thing I'll say, Trump has defeated all the leaders of ISIS now. Something that apparently Obama couldn't do. Yes, Obama took out Osama bin Laden, supposedly. But Trump has killed basically all the leaders. We took over the last stronghold, the last few strongholds that ISIS had. ISIS is pretty much their heads cut off. So anything they're making plans for on a mass scale now is in a lower level. It's without a lot of their top guys that were the expert planners of these things. So it's just a lot harder for these organizations to make actual plans that follow through with. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're seeing since Trump has been in office, we're not seeing as much terror. So that's kind of my thought on that. And that kind of leads me to the last kind of topic we're going to talk about is the New York Times article on Trump and how far America has fallen since Trump. Okay, this is a New York Times article. New York Times has typically been pretty hatred towards Trump. Let's just be honest. They have. But let's think about how far America has fallen since Trump. If we think back on Obama days, wasn't that when all the police riots were and supposedly, all these people killing unarmed black men or armed black men that, weren't supposed to die either, apparently, because they had weapons and pointed at police. Let's talk about that.
Well, here's the thing. All this talk about Trump being impeached, what has he done so bad to even be brought up in the conversation of being impeached?
Oh, Stormy Daniels.
Stormy
Daniels.
Could you impeach the man because of Stormy Daniels? Is that impeachable?
Well, what's funny is, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember, their main thing on impeaching Trump is by saying that he paid off Stormy Daniels or whatever.
But wasn't that in 2006?
Yeah, it was, but they're saying because he paid it off during the campaign that he should be impeached. Do you remember Paula? What was that girl's name?
Yeah. Talking about Paula.
For Clinton?
Yeah, for Clinton. Paula.
Yeah, Jones.
Paula Jones.
Something like that.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Do you know that Clinton during his presidency paid off Paula Jones in the sum of $800,000?
Wow.
Did he get impeached for that? Did they even talk about impeaching?
Oh yeah,
him
he
for
went
that?
through. He went through
Yeah,
the
he-
impeachment.
But it wasn't for that.
They went through
Yeah,
that
yeah, it
with,
was.
Monica Lewinsky, too.
Okay, that's what that was. That's
Yeah.
what that was. That's
Yeah,
what
it
that
was Monica Lewinsky. They went through the impeachment or tried to impeach him, but they didn't really mention Paula Jones. I mean, they mentioned Paula Jones, but they didn't mention Clinton paying him off.
Right, right.
But yet, supposedly, the reason why Trump should be impeached is because he paid off some freaking porn star.
So is that what his lawyer?
Which I'd be really pissed if I paid off a porn star to shut the hell up, and she's still talking, and they're even talking about impeachment. Come on, man! Like, shut the hell up! I paid you off. Quit talking.
So they're saying that he used his campaign money.
Yeah, that's pretty much what. Well, no, he's already said that he used his own money, which if he did, that doesn't make it illegal.
Well, they got to be able to prove it, don't they? That he used his own money.
Yeah, I mean, I guess whenever those hearings come up, but I mean, it's my point is like, you're right. What the hell has he done to be impeached? And this New York Times article talks about how awful America is today. They blame Trump for the way that how divided the country is. Did people seriously forget how divided we were during Obama's term? I mean, honestly, I'll be honest, Mr. Tutt. I remember when Obama was president, we used to talk, and I used to tell you, I said, Mr. Tutt, man, there is about to be a race war in this country. I felt like it.
Well, I mean, what made you say that?
Well, what made me say that is the fact that when there are riots happening because of police brutality, per se, there are riots happening, and instead of your president coming out and saying, everybody needs to stay calm, you need to, look, you need to, it's the one thing if you want to protest, police brutality, which, is probably an issue out there, whatever. And I believe
do it peacefully and not vandalize every store and shop there is.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's you can do it, protest, do it the right way, but this rioting and this craziness, that's not going to get your issue across. That's not going to do anything good for the freaking, people that are being, but the reality is Obama came out and really, in my opinion, excited violence. He came out and he basically made these people that were rioting and blowing stuff up and doing all this crazy stuff, he made them believe that what they were doing was the right thing to do.
But see, the race wars that you're speaking of, I think you're speaking of police against civilians instead of civilians against civilians.
Well, no, when I told you that I think there could be a race war, I thought it was going to be because of this police thing, because there were two separate sides of the issue. There was people that supported police, and then there were people that hated police, and then there were those people that burned American flags. Do you remember all that crap? I mean, they were burning them right and left. Lil Wayne was known. He was in his neighborhood burning an American flag and stepping on it.
Wow.
I mean, and it's like, and that ties into this whole damn NFL thing and not standing for the protest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or sorry, not standing for the national anthem.
And that, yeah.
And, now ESPN is saying that we're not going to air
Right.
the national anthem.
Right.
And it's weird because I've heard some conservatives say, "Oh, how dare you not air the?" But I actually agree with ESPN on this.
Really?
I agree with them on not airing the national anthem because it takes out the controversy of the flag.
Right. Right.
And and people will make people will have their voice with their money.
The NFL lost millions of dollars last year because of this.
Oh yeah.
Why are they going through the same thing this year and taking the chance of losing millions or more?
Well, because I guess there's so many of the black athletes mostly, but I guess there's so many of them that have an opinion on this. It's like, look, man, I can't go to my job and if my boss tells me, look, man, you can't do this. If you do, you're fired. He has a right to do that. It's a private company.
Right.
He has a complete right to do that. It's not First Amendment speech anymore. It's you don't do this to work here. And And that's what the NFL is telling the players now. Is like you have to either stay in the locker room or you got to stand and
Oh, they give them an option to
yeah, they did.
to come out on field or not.
Yeah.
Boy, that sideline is going to be empty.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you would think, but the thing is like, but here's the thing: these NFL players that are making all this money because of the people that pay the tickets to come to their games.
But at the same time, you have to respect they're following the 27 amendments, the Constitution of the United States. So it's hard to hold it against them. There's
a right and wrong way to protest.
It's their right.
It is their right, but just because it's your right doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Well, how is it not the right thing to do when they have the freedom of choice to do it?
Well, I'll put it this way. Let me explain something to you.
Protesting like their country now.
Well, let me explain something to this. I don't care what they say or why they're protesting. These people are famous people in most cases. Most all these players that kneel and do all this crazy BS, they're famous people. Now, if it was me and I wanted to get a protest across, if I had the opportunity, I guess, to like protest in an NFL environment and I'm not famous, like, I'm going to try to take any way I possibly can, but it's not going to be the flag. It'll be some other crazy shit, But these people are famous, man. Like, in your press conference, talk about it then. Make a damn YouTube channel. Hey, how about you go on your Instagram that is followed by 1 million people and talk about it on there? Why do you have to go out on the field during our national anthem where people fought and died? And I've heard people say, yeah, but they fought and died for our opportunity to be able to go and kneel on the field. No, that's bullshit. There are people that fought. There are soldiers that have been in wars in this country, not in this country, but in other countries. There are soldiers that pride is what carried them through. Like, pride for their country is the only way mentally they got through that war. And there were so many soldiers that when they were in the thick of this shit, man, they were getting shot. There was bullets ringing over their head. There were soldiers getting shot in the neck right beside them. They went to freaking basic training with, and all these other, that they were basically brothers with. They were seeing their fellow soldiers get killed and shot in the face. Some of them had to like literally put their freaking 4 fingers in their neck just to stop bleeding. Mm. And at some point in time during this whole thing, because I have friends that were in military, and one of my best friends is, but there were some points in time when besides God and besides the thought of their family back home, you have to ask yourself when you're in that situation, what in the hell am I here for? Like, what in the hell did I sign up for this shit for? And you know what? The one thing they're going to look at to remind themselves of that is our flag. They're going to look at our flag on their jacket, which is proudly stamped on their jacket. And that's what the fuck they're fighting for.
I agree.
And so when soldiers go out on the field and they protest the flag by kneeling for some bullshit, and I'm not saying it's bullshit, there is social and racial and police injustice, but do it the respectful way. The same way you want people to respect you, you need to show respect for people that have nothing to do with whether black people get killed or not. Soldiers didn't have anything to do with that shit. A lot of soldiers are black. And there are soldiers out there that'll say, you know what, I fought and died, or not fought and died, but I've had friends that fought and died for the right for people to do that. But what I'm saying is, it is a 100% disrespectful way. It's the same thing as someone putting a satanic a statue at a state ground. It's disrespectful to our country. It's disrespectful to the people that believe. And I'm not saying that there is not police brutality out there, but there's police brutality on both sides.
There's a time and a place.
But there's police brutality on both sides, and if we want to get into and we've talked about this, statistically, even per capita, there are more white people killed by police officers, even unarmed, than there are black people, and that's per capita. That's taking out the fact that there's more white people in the country than blacks. So my point to that is like, you got to really like dig deep and figure out like, why is so many people offended, man. Some of these people that are offended have lost their sons or daughters in the military in war,
Well, you know, one thing you have to realize too. I mean, in the Vietnam War.
Oh yeah, people hated soldiers then.
No, in the Vietnam War, it was I think might have been like a paramedic or something, or a doctor in the Vietnam War, and you know he would treat some of the wounded soldiers in there. And I was watching on YouTube video the other day. He said, you know, I'm not saying this to to tick anybody or piss anybody off or anything like that for what we're talking about, but he said there were more black soldiers on the front line of Vietnam than anybody.
I'm sure.
So, you know, what those NFL players are doing, they'll tell you quick, you know, we died for this freedom also to be able to do what we're doing.
But you think those black soldiers that died or came back from Vietnam agree with that shit they're doing? Because I bet they don't.
I don't think that they want it to be. I don't think that they want it to be on that front line either.
No, they didn't. They didn't want to be on there. But you know why they were there? They were there for America.
Oh man,
they were there for America, man.
Because John F. Kennedy and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. opposed that Vietnam War. They did not want that thing to happen, and it had a lot to do with both of them being killed.
Well, and it's not just the freaking presidents, man. There were people. There were many. God, I mean, dude, when those soldiers came back home, freaking, there was a lot of people that hated those soldiers.
They are the most respected soldiers, you know, in the history of America.
Or disrespected.
Yeah,
disrespected. Yeah,
they are.
They're finally getting respect.
Well, they're finally getting respect today.
They need
somewhat,
to,
but
they need to. They need
too little, too late.
Yeah.
You know, but all I'm saying is, man, America is even with President Trump, and I'll go on record to say this. I think President Trump is one of the best presidents the United States of America has ever had, by far.
My uncle told, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got an uncle that told one of my other family members that Trump was the best thing that happened to America. She stopped talking to him.
Now, who said what? What did you say?
My uncle.
Yeah.
Told one of our
Cousins.
cousins.
Okay.
She's an older lady in her early 80s.
Yeah.
And he said, President Trump, the best thing that ever happened to America. She hung up the phone and they had to
Oh my God. See, but that's the thing, dude. That is so black and white.
No, but it isn't, because there's things that, you know, if you want to get on the race subject, there's things that black people like about Trump. There's things that white people like about Trump. There's things that black people don't like, and there's things that white people don't like. So we're all like common ground. So the people that really do like Trump, which is the white and the black people who do like them, we are definitely all in common ground, which makes us a damn team. We are finally a team.
Well, I don't know what the hell you're talking. I hope you're talking about conservatives are a team, because liberals hate our ass.
The team of the people that agree.
The people.
It's the people that agree with each other, no matter what our race, color, or sex, whatever it is. If we believe in the same thing.
I mean, to be honest, there's probably within the next year, Trump can do one or two things that could just make people love him. Or he could do one or two things to make people hate him.
Nobody's gonna love him. I mean,
sorry.
No Democrat is gonna love him.
But let's hear the two things.
But yeah,
I'm talking about the people. I'm not talking about those politicians. I'm talking about the people.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the people.
Yeah, but
he can really turn this thing around as far as people liking him.
No, there's no way, because
the people. I guarantee
not the people.
I guarantee it.
I don't agree, because the reason I say I don't agree is because, dude, President Trump now has one of the best economies of any president ever. He's been the only president that's done amazing things for in terms of denuclearizing North Korea, even though that's not. We can talk about that shit all day.
It's not in stone yet.
Yeah, and actually recently Trump said that, you know, North Korea is not doing what they should be doing. You know, and so he's gonna kind of slow down the process of that. But what I'm saying is, man, President Trump has done more than presidents since I've been alive, and more people hate him. And it's just like Kanye West said. Kanye West said, you know, man, it's funny that before President Trump became president, all these rappers out here were putting Donald Trump's name in their rap lyrics. Like he was the god.
That was true.
And now all of a sudden he's president. All you motherfuckers hate him because he's a Republican. And black people and Kanye West said just because you're black, people think that you have to be Democrat.
That's true. That's true. But I will say,
I guarantee a lot of your family's Democrat, ain't they?
well, I mean, that's traditional.
Exactly, that's my
But
point.
you know, I will agree with Kanye on that, but I disagree that slavery was a choice.
Oh yeah.
He shouldn't have said that.
That was pretty stupid.
No, but
I understand what he meant, but
what he was saying about a choice was after slavery became illegal. Some black people chose to still be slaves because that was their life and that's what they knew.
They had nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and they had nowhere else to go.
But I guess the way he said it was like if you could have a better life, but at the time it's like shit. That was a
was
choice.
their life.
I guess if you look at it that way,
After slavery ended.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
They still
After it
wanted
wasn't,
to
it's
stay
the
in their life.
what was
They
that,
knew
Jim
they were
Crow
gonna be
era?
free people.
Well, Jim Crow was after slavery. Yeah.
He was, but the Jim Crow era, I think, was the time period that maybe Kanye was talking about. Who the hell knows, man? We could get on that
It don't matter.
subject.
You know, he's on some type of psychological medication, so you can't really pay him any attention.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm definitely excited to talk more about all this stuff coming up, man. We have all you out there. We have a show coming up Thursday. It'll be at 7:00, and you know what? We want to let us know what you guys think as far as live shows versus not. I mean, definitely had a great time hanging out with you guys. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Let us know if you agree with me or Mr. Tut or Sherry or none of us. Maybe you hate us all already. Maybe you're like, man, it's the first episode I hate these motherfuckers.
Got nothing but love for you, baby.
And maybe we'll get Mr. Tut to sing on here
Oh
one
no,
night.
I'm just getting
Where-
over a cold, man. I had a sinus infection.
Yeah, that's what they all say, man. That's
I can rap though. I've changed it to rap, hip hop. I'm hip hop now.
rap.
Let's hear it.
What kind of
Let's hear it.
rap?
Let's
What
hear
kind
a
of
little
rap are you gonna
Can
rap?
do a little rap?
No, I don't have any of my lyrics copywritten right now.
Chad,
Copy
I
it.
know you can do their Fresh Bel Air.
Oh man, I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the cab, "You're home, smell you later." Man, I grew up on that song. Man. I love that song.
Just do it for them.
Sing some Tupac and Biggie, man.
Yeah, Tupac. Man, Tupac was back in the day. Hey, Tupac was definitely one of those people, man. He did not give a shit about what anybody said, thought.
Dude, if Tupac,
And I think that's why he's dead.
if Tupac was still alive today,
Hey, I think he would like Trump.
oh no, I don't know, man. It's hard to say.
I think he
it's,
would.
It's hard to say.
I think his personality and his mindset, I think he would love Trump just like Kanye.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think Biggie
It's
would.
hard to
I don't
say.
think Biggie would like Trump, but I think Tupac would.
See, Kanye has letting the Kardashians twist his mind, man. That's all that is. See, Tupac was too strong-minded for that. Kanye is weak-minded, man.
Look, Kardashians, man. Look, Trump's probably been with them.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh shit! All
Nah,
right,
I'm just
man.
joking. I didn't mean to put him on the spot. I'm just joking.
Well, guys, look, man, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're gonna leave you with one of our break songs earlier to let you go, but we will see you guys bright and late. Is that a thing? Bright and late? Bright? No, it's bright and early.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's going to be bright and late.
It's
Bright
not
and
going to
late.
be early.
Yeah, I know, right? But we'll see y'all Thursday at 7 p.m. Thanks for listening, guys. Here we go.
I can still shut down the party. I can hang with anybody. I can drink whiskey and red wine, champagne all night, little scotch on the rocks, and I'm fine. But when I taste tequila, baby, I still see ya cutting up the floor in a sorority t-shirt, the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Your lips pressed against the bottle, slamming on a Bible, baby, I'd never leave you. I remember how bad I need you when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila, I can kiss somebody brand new and not even think about taste tequila, baby, I still see you. Sorority t-shirt, the same one you wore when we were sky high in Colorado. Lips pressed against the bottle, spinning on the Bible, baby, I never leave you. I remember how bad I need you when I taste tequila. When I taste tequila. When I taste tequila. When I taste tequila.
These days, people love keeping stats: calories, shares, likes, steps. But what about a more important stat? There are over 300 fatalities a year due to impaired driving right here in South Carolina. 300 preventable deaths. This is Trooper Wilkes, reminding you and your friends not to drink and drive. And if you see someone about to drive drunk, dial star 47. Working together, we can target zero traffic fatalities. In South Carolina, it's sober or slammer. Brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. 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 South Carolina Department of Public Safety.